Hello, everyone. Once again, back for another week of awesome sports talk. This is Dante Suave, my special guest, Mystah Jay.
What's going on, everybody? How's it going today? As you can see, I'm repping for the team that is actually doing something with their lives right now in the city, other than the other ones that put forth such a, I don't even want to call that a piss poor effort. I I want to, we'll
Did
get
you watch the
started. I
game?
know we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about it.
we especially have to talk about it if you watched it, because as soon as I was going through my phone and I saw the score, I was like, you remember, I was like, no wonder you didn't mention the game.
No. And you saw what my tag was on Facebook. Now y'all wonder why I watch Red Zone. I could not have watched that entire game. I would have thrown something at the TV. 3 fumbles in 4 plays. They let's put it like this. The one player outscored the Bengals on his own with the pick 6 and the fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah. They were talking about him.
He's
The
going to be defensive player of the week just because they
Right.
couldn't do anything. They just nothing. It
Okay. So in
depression.
light of that,
Mm-hmm.
when is it going to become really important that once you know, because apparently Dallas had an issue with this too, and they mentioned it during the game. And
Mm-hmm.
this is why this is a good reason for me to bring this up. Dennis Allen, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
not not Eric Allen. They were talking about how they interviewed him before the game, and he talked about how difficult it was that the schemes that he had up, he couldn't really do them because most of the people were hurt on the
True.
defense.
True.
So I don't understand why you have people on your team that you don't know what they're good at. In the event that somebody gets hurt, which these days, you spoke of it. Holy crap,
What?
McLaurin, Terry. Wait, oh no, not Mr. Holdout.
He hurt?
According to what I'm seeing, according to UPI News, sorry
Breaking.
for the sudden interruption of jumping topics, but yeah, let me look at UPI News and see what they're saying about him. Ooh wee, ooh wee.
Is it season ending or is it just I'm going to ESPN now. What's going on, D?
Well,
I'm going now to go check it and see, because if it's season ending, that's not good.
what are you talking about?
Uh Terry McLaurin for Washington
I
might be
think I think it is. This season about to be something else,
I
bro.
must be scrolling too fast because I don't even see where they're talking about him.
I'm checking. I'm looking at it right now with Lamb, because CD's out. Let's see here, going to the NFL now. I gotta plug up in order to charge.
Oh, he has a quad injury.
Yeah, if he has a quad, if he has a strained quad or anything, that's going to be pretty much season.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
The injury bug is biting everybody right now.
I get it. It's biting everybody. It's different for me when you're holding out.
True. Now for
Just like
me,
Ayuk last year. When
yeah,
Ayuk,
everybody that's held out for some way, shape, or form has ended up getting hurt. It's not going to get any better. It's
and Trent Williams, he got hurt last year, but he played last year. He showed up week 1 last year. So I can let that slide. Now you want to hold out, okay, that's fine. But yes, I'm gonna have an opinion if you turn around and immediately get hurt.
It's
all
about
that
to be
and I would love to know what's causing all these injuries to
lack
everybody.
of playing, lack of playing, lack of reps. I'm sorry. Your body gets used to it. There's no reason for anybody to get told that they need to get into game shape with any type of holdout or anything else. If you are an athlete that is on top of your craft, you should only have to get into the physical reps a little bit in order to do that. But you have a lot of these players that don't. You got to think about it from all the injuries that we're hearing about now. There's little to no playing during the preseason. There's really little to practices. Is pretty much a quarter of the practices is open to the public, just walkthroughs. You're not hitting, your OTAs are restricted. Everything has gotten to the point to where it's less and less. Your body is not going to be acclimated to doing the things it's doing if it's doing less and less of it. But then you got them playing for a full 18, 17 game season plus the playoffs.
Which
So
I immediately question because of the fact that it's like you care about them, so you shrunk the preseason, but then you added a regular season game. What?
you don't care about, here's the reason why. You don't care about them. You care about the money that their revenue from them being on TV brings in. Is there a national market for preseason games? No. Most preseason games are locally operated and ran on their shows. That's why you see when the Bengals are playing, you see Anthony Munoz and somebody else in the Bengals television network for those 3 games. You don't, unless one of those games is a nationally televised game that gets picked up by ESPN, NBC, and everything else. It's not like NBC saying we're sending out every team to all of our broadcasting teams to every location to broadcast every single one of the preseason games. So it's not, they don't get the same revenue share from the regular season for the preseason. So they could care less. But if I turn around and say, oh, I'm going to add in another game, and the players is going to sit there and say, oh, well, you're splitting our game checks up and everything else. Yes, the players have a right to complain about that in that light of it. But at the end of the day, that extra game, without an extra game of reps, is leading to a whole bunch of different injuries that you should not be seeing. And you're seeing lower leg injuries. You're seeing tendon stuff that we didn't hear on a regular basis before. And it's the same way with any of the sports. Realistically, the only sport that you don't hear a lot of catastrophic injuries like you used to right now, and I hate to say it, is baseball. But baseball, what are you hearing? You're hearing more Tommy John surgeries for pitchers and everything. But that doesn't make any sense when you rarely have. What was the biggest thing in baseball we used to love? Hey, they pitched a complete game shutout. They used to be able to, oh, that pitcher, you give them the ball, they're going to go 9 innings every time they go out there. The Nolan Ryans, the Randy Johnsons, things like that. Now, what was it? Kershaw went 4 1/3 before they pulled him on his last game. Everybody was hyped.
Games I watched, most of the quarterbacks didn't make. I mean, most of the pitchers didn't make it past the
5th inning.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go through the lineup once, maybe 1.5 times, and then they're pulling them. When everybody was hyped up when Hunter Green went a complete game 1 hitter last week, and I'm like, wait a minute, that used to be the norm on here. Why is that now? Oh, because that's the first one in a while. Make that make sense. So it's like, what do you want from this? Bosa going out with an ACL tear. Lamb going out with his foot getting contorted the wrong way, that he's out 2 to 4 weeks. Then you got Connor for Arizona going out with a broken, they saying it's probably a broken ankle, and that might be career ending.
Right.
And then on top of that, think about the quarterbacks that we went into this week alone missing, with Daniels, with Burrow, with McCarthy, and that's McCarthy's 2nd injury in 2 years. So it's like, what do you want for them to do? But you can be all the stretched out, bulked up, everything else. But if you're not getting hit and your body's not getting trained to contort in those different ways to where it's used to that and it's not going, oh my God, it's the first time I felt it click. It's going to be an issue. And that's what it's been. It's been that way for a minute now. And it's just, it's like, how can you even get into it with McLaurin? That's crazy because McLaurin, you like you said, you held out. You didn't do no work during the season at all. Okay. The
How come they
preseason.
didn't have him on the pitch count?
They're never gonna put none of their stars on a pitch count, no matter what. The
Well,
only
no,
ones,
now.
the only ones that Green Bay did it with, right, but he's on defense to where they have a rotation to where they have it in there for it. If you are the number one wide receiver, you're not on a pitch count. You're gonna be, your pitch count is, oh, this is a running play. Just jog a couple of meters and just put your hand out there and block, and that's the end of it. And that's why I'm like, that's crazy as heck. That's what it is.
I still say all this complaint about injury and stuff, that it needs to be reevaluated and the roster needs to be treated more like the NBA roster. Might be time to, not only on defense but on offense, it might be time to start subbing people in. It's like, you can't play the whole game. It's like, well, we want to make sure we keep you for the season. We'll have you on a minute count, something.
But at the end of the day, though, you already are in that type of situation because depending on the scenarios, you're getting subbed in and out. Depending on
running backs, I notice it with the running backs. I notice it with some of the tight ends. I definitely notice it with the defensive tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the linebackers.
Yeah.
But other than that,
different thing, because different schemes depends on different players. It's the rarity now that you have those players that are every down player. You don't really have that many of them anymore. Because what do you hear? You hear them saying, "Oh, they're putting in their pass rush specialist group. They're putting in their short yardage group. They're putting in their nickel group, their dime group, their quarter group. They're putting in different people in different slots of it to where a lot of players, if you look at pro football talk and look at their stats for it, some of their player reps, if a defense is on the field or offense is on the field for 60, 70 plays, some of the players might only be on there for 35 to 40. Uh-oh, you just seen something. Please don't tell me you were watching WWE.
I'm sorry, I'm watching the re-air, and I just watched one of the DBs from the Lions throw a tantrum for something that he actually did.
Oh yeah, because they're not wrong. We're never wrong. We didn't do it.
So this was the game, the Lions game. DK Metcalf was still in Seattle, and they were playing the Lions. Dude had his arm right here around DK's shoulder. They wearing white, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously a ref that's standing in the end zone that's looking at DK can see an arm that's not DK's wrapped around his shoulder. He calls it pass interference, and then another dude keeps having to push him away from the referee because he get mad. What? And then they showed the replay, and I'm just looking at the replay like, did you not realize what your arm was doing?
No. They don't realize it. They just like, hey, okay, I did it. Yeah.
Well, and I get it. The refs can't always call it, so sometimes you get away with it. So you dumb enough to keep doing it. I get it. But that's like you don't get caught stealing, so you keep stealing, and then you get mad at the cops when you get caught.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, but you ain't supposed to be stealing. What are we doing? Back into what we talking about. The injuries is going to make this a very interesting season. I don't care who you are, what you see, and to answer your question from what you said earlier, it was Dallas. Just like we said with the Bengals game when they beat Cleveland, it was Dallas. If it hadn't been Dallas, the Chiefs would have had a rougher day at the office. Just like these people that's getting online and I sent you, there was one I didn't send you that I meant to send you, a meme regarding Caleb Williams and Eberflus.
Oh God!
So you might have saw it. they were basically saying, basically making fun of Eberflus because Caleb won. And I'm like, I would love to be with everybody on this against Eberflus. Again, but here's the problem. New coach comes in, better coach, better quarterback coach.
Yeah.
It's been as ugly as it was when Eberflus was there. Okay, that shouldn't be if it was all Eberflus.
Right.
Number two, last 2 weeks did not look like yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No. The last 2 weeks did not look anything like yesterday.
Whether it was Minnesota and last I checked, y'all got the brakes beat off y'all and didn't score but 14 last week against the Lions. They got trounced by Green Bay the week before. Details, man, details.
It is.
I get it. Just like I had to point something out to this one guy. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna make a special basketball section because I had to bring him to reality. Because I don't mind you calling people out. I don't mind you saying things. But there's certain things that I'm getting really tired of hearing, and we're gonna speak on it. But to stick with football, because yeah, that game yesterday, they should have lost. I would love to have seen what would have happened if there weren't so many injuries on the Dallas defense, and if the play caller hadn't been so. You got Javonte Williams, 7 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
You got Sanders getting about 4 or 5 yards a carry. That is cool, but what are you doing? The offensive line was doing better with the run than they were with the pass.
Mm-hmm.
And when they figured out y'all weren't doing it, they put more pressure on Dak. And last I checked, pressure bust pipes. Whether his name is Kyler Murray, or his name is Dak Prescott, or his name is Sam Darnold, or his name is Jared Goff, or his name is Russell Wilson. I could keep going here.
It was so disrespectful what Chicago did to Dallas. And I was waiting for somebody. I had listened in this morning to try to see if anybody was going to key on it. It was one that was on ESPN radio that keyed in on it. And he said that second half, when Chicago got the ball and they had that 18-play drive, they ran the ball 11 straight times against that defense. They had no respect for their defense. They were just saying, you know what, hike, give the running back on there, push him in the mouth.
They retired.
Exactly.
They spent most of the game on the field because of which is another reason why when you have one of your running backs doing 7 yards of carry, you got the other one doing 4. Dak should be doing play action, and that's about it. And for Christ's sake, I love Dak to death, but even Jerry saw that one interception coming. They showed his face. Jerry seen what he was doing, and he shook his head. No, damn it.
But even with that, he
was pressing. He was trying to do too much. And the same thing was happening with Russell Wilson. He was pressing. If they're giving you the under, damn it, take the under. Change up the plays if you need.
They don't want to. These quarterbacks are keyed into, I want the ESPN highlight play instead of.
And I'm sure that they weren't the only ones involved in that, because the offensive coordinator, I blame them too. Somebody should be saying in his ear, like, hey.
It was so yesterday, when we were doing our picks last week, we sat there and we said this was going to be an eye-opening weekend. I did not expect for it to be as eye-opening as it was. But
it's been happening every week.
Right. But this week was just like, this week alone was just nuts, because nobody would have ever thought Chicago would beat the brakes off of Dallas. Chicago beat the brakes off of Dallas. For the right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah, I knew it was possible for them to win, but
right, but not to beat the brakes off of them. When when you sit there and you watch the Kansas City Giants game, that game was actually closer than what everybody expected for that. That's why I sent you the message. Was it really a win for the Chiefs or was it a loss? Because they won the game, but they showed to everybody this is not your Chiefs team from years past at all.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Travis should have retired.
Told you. Did not say it. I said it last year. I said he should have left. He should have retired.
He should have retired when they won.
His head is not. It's not even the fact of that. Travis' head is not into the game anymore. He's into everything outside of it, and it's starting to reflect in his play. He's not focused. And you see that in some of the mental mistakes that he's making while he's out there on the field. And then the one thing that, if you remember Travis Kelce from his UC days here, the one thing that he all up until that point, he never put accountability on anybody else but himself. This season, every time something has happened, besides the fact of him knocking Xavier Worthy out for a few weeks, it's been somebody else's fault.
Now the one interview that I heard that I heard him say, that I heard him talk about it. He did take accountability for himself first, but he did say that everybody, he says, starting with me, everybody needs to step their game up. And I do believe that with him being the focal, everybody figuring he's going to be the focal point. And that's on Patrick, that's on the play calling, because they have, for all this talk about them needing Worthy and needing Rice. No, they don't.
They don't.
They've never needed wide receivers. Cam Newton is crazy because he hasn't been paying attention.
They need a running back.
No, they need a line. Ain't nothing wrong with ain't nothing wrong with Pacheco. Ain't nothing wrong with Kareem Hunt. You want to know how I know? Because they had them same people when they went to the Super Bowl and won. And they had a bunch of who's who of not that great wide receivers. But what was the thing though? The offensive line held up.
Protect. Yep.
And with each year, the offensive line has gotten worse. So this year, they're definitely at their worst, and they're at their worst at the beginning of the season. And that's also part of the reason why everything is looking how it's looking. Because for all the kudos that I give Patrick Mahomes, one thing that I've said, and I've said this to you in the classroom, he's a clutch dude, but you can't put him in the same conversation as you would a Brady, as you would a Peyton, as you would a Warren Moon, as you would Elway, somebody like that. He's a very smart clutch quarterback, but he's Alex Smith with
better arm talent.
With better arm talent and better scrambling ability.
Yeah.
And he's better able to make decisions within the game, but in terms of quarterback making people better necessarily, especially if the offensive line is having a bad day, that's not him.
No. And that shows. So that goes back to our conversation last week when we said with a lot of these teams that don't have the offensive lines that they had, or have not built their offensive lines in order to protect the quarterbacks the way that they should. That becomes a GM and ownership issue, not a player issue, and a player development and a player scouting issue. Because some of these people that you're getting are drafted and they're not panning out. If there's red flags when they're getting drafted, why are you drafting them high? Because and this comes into, and the other part that comes to Kansas City is that is the era starting to get stale? Is the Andy Reid era starting to really get stale with Kansas City? Because he's always been able to pull the best out of what he had. And he's still been able to pull that from some of these players that he's had there. But over the past couple of years, it's been a struggle for him to pull his best out of his offensive line, out of his linebacker core, out
So
of his wide receivers that he has had on there. They've been just enough, but every year has been something different that the people is complaining about. Oh, well, Pacheco can't stay healthy. Oh, well, Pacheco can't run against that run in that line. Oh, their offensive line's not been that good. Oh, their wide receivers, they need an upgrade. It's always been something else instead of just saying what's all been known. After a while of a dynasty starts to fall apart.
and money and paying people is a part of it.
Right.
And Colin Cowherd has been saying it for the past couple of years. I will give him his due, and I've been saying it. I've been saying it for, oh my God, I'm 48 now. I've been saying it for longer than that. I've been calling this out. You got to be careful how you're paying the players, because you have to still be able to address the entire team.
Yeah.
And so, which is an argument that me, you, and Drew had, because matter of fact, I had it with a Bengals fan just the other day. They could have done without paying either Trey or Higgins.
And we had that conversation.
Yeah, and you know, if and if you really want to get good, say, other than Chase, who can we trade these two to, and what can we get for it? And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, come up with something better than draft picks, because last I checked, back when from the time that this was first able to be a thing, fans did not want you trading for draft picks, because draft picks is next year. You make a trade, you better be planning for this year.
And I don't get the I've been a big person, and I've been a big person on, if you know where your holes are, fix your holes. Fix the things that have cost you. You protect your investment.
And
You
that's hard.
protect right. You protect your investment. And it's
That's
like, what are you doing? Because you're sitting there now, every player, and we always go back to the Bengals. Every player that they've gotten on their offensive line that was touted as being, oh, this is going to be the best thing for it, has turned into a sieve as soon as they've gotten onto the Bengals. And the craziest part of it is now I can't blame the offensive line coach, because we got a new offensive line coach. So it's like, okay, who do you blame? Can you blame the offensive line? Can you blame the coaching? Well, if you change the coaches and the situation is still the same, then you got to blame the players. Okay, well, if I'm going to blame the players, and these are the players that our director of player personnel and our GM is bringing in to it, then I'm going to blame them, because you need to be evaluating better for it. And then all of that all works down to where you can't fire everybody. So the person that gets the first thing that's going to get it is exactly how I said last week when we were having that discussion about the Bengals, and I sat there and I said, this is either going to be a blessing or disguise, or this is going to be Zach Taylor's swan song. And this is now turning into Zach Taylor's swan song, because not only did he screw up with the press conference that he had on Tuesday last week, when he sat there and he was talking to the media, and he sat there and said, if anybody's going to blame anything about our style of play or anything else, blame me. Blame me for what the offensive line didn't do. Blame me for this stuff on there. Okay, that's fine. I'm glad that you take that accountability. But like the post that I made today on yesterday on my Facebook page. No, was it today? One of the days. I sat there and I said, this was a Yesterday's game was not only the worst loss in franchise history, it was a microcosm of the fact of he does not have that team. There's no reason why, if you know your star player is hurt again, you got all these leaders that you didn't pay this money in order to be leaders. You got where it should have been a rallying point to say, you know what, we're going to do this for Joe. Plus, as a human, to sit there and say, everybody immediately wrote us off because Joe got hurt. I'm going to put my best foot forward to make it seem like Joe is a part of this team. He's not the entire team. And as a coach, you have to go in there and tell them, hey, Joe's gone. He's not coming back through that door for 3 months. As a team, we are 2-0. We control our own destiny. Let's lock in and give ourselves an opportunity to where when Joe comes back, it enhances us, not gets us through the rest of the season. And let's focus on the small things, focus on the little things in order to make this work. That game right there, every little thing that you could control, they did not control. There was no type of drive to be like, yo, we're going to do this without Joe. It was none of that at all. It was, oh, we playing a football game. Oh, we out here doing it. But nobody, you know what? I would rather have George Pickens slamming his helmet down in frustration at what was going on during that game against Chicago than having somebody just sitting off like this, shell shocked, like, what happened on the sideline? And then walking off and unstrapping and everything, like, okay, I'm still going to get paid. Okay, I played the game. You lost 48-10 to a quarterback that was on his starting for his 6th different team in the past 6 years. And he made you look foolish, not given the fact that you spotted them points because y'all can't play Butterfingers and it wasn't no weather or anything else. You were in a dome. How are you fumbling like that?
But you know, and I don't believe that I brought this up last week. Bengals mystique. Another part of the Bengals mystique is rookies and backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's like there's something about rookies and backup quarterbacks that the coaches and the players just can't. It's crazy because and this is what I try to tell people. Okay, you changed Marvin. You changed all as many coaches as you could. It's still a problem. You've changed players after player after player after player. Same problem that you had 10, 15 years ago is still a problem now. That's more than coincidence. That's why I call it a mystique, because that's just too.
That's your own.
That's not supposed to happen.
That's not even your mystique. That's your ownership. That is your leadership of that is your stewardship of your squad. That is where when you can't sit there and realize and look in the mirror and say, I'm the problem. That's where you start. This is where you sit up there and you get the situations like we've had with a Boomer Esiason when he left, with a Jeff Blake when we had him and had an explosive offense but couldn't stop a head cold. When we had Carson Palmer with Chad and TJ. When we had a Andy Dalton with AJ Green. And what we currently have with a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. When it comes down to it, you have never, ever built this squad the way that it was supposed to be. You always went weapon heavy, but your infantry has never been strong. And that's what's been killing us. And that infantry has gotten your quarterback hurt numerous times. That infantry has shown its ugly head when that quarterback has gotten hurt. Let's be called spade a spade. If this would have been any other team in the NFL with the record that Zach Taylor has when Joe Burrow is not his starting quarterback, he wouldn't even be coaching at Ball State. But because he's had Joe Burrow, he's kept his job. This season, you cannot use that as an excuse going into next year. But here's how Cincinnati's going to spin it. Cincinnati's going to sit over there and say, well, he didn't have his quarterback, so we're going to give him another year to try. Stop doing that. Stop giving the excuses. If it was me and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about what am I going to do going forward with this, if Joe is going to be back with this squad and not pull a Carson and call for a trade or say I'm over this or anything else, if he says he wants to be here, then you need to go ask Joe, who does he want to coach this squad? And here's the only reason why. And I know you're shaking your head, and I know the reason why you're shaking your head. Here's the only reason why. Because if you let Zach Taylor go and you're not calling Joe Brady, who's the OC up in Buffalo, as soon as the door hits Zach Taylor out on his butt to say, if we tell you you can put together a squad and come down here and do what you have to do with this, and they know he's going to get his blessing, I don't think there's nobody else that you can even put in the coaching realm here with that ownership that's going to make them succeed. I don't. And that's the saddest part to say as a Cincinnati person and as a Cincinnati homer as I am. I don't see, I hate to say it, and I don't never wish this upon anybody, but I don't see the Bengals doing anything until the Brown family's out of control.
Well, okay. And I would love to agree with that, but there's other teams that, even though ownership changed, I mean the Raiders, Al Davis died,
But it went to his son. So it's still same family. Still same mentality. That's why I said last week Dallas is not going to change. If something was to happen to Jerry, you still got Steven, who's born and raised in that thing. The family ran teams that have been there besides the Hunts. They don't succeed. Look at it. And I hate to think of it that way, but you have to have a difference in philosophy in order to get better. You cannot sit up there and have the same, this has been passed down from my father to my father to my father. You can catch lightning in a bottle every once in a while, but consistency, no.
Cleveland definitely changed though, right?
Cleveland who? Which
Right.
one? With Modell? You talking about old school Cleveland or new school Cleveland?
The Cleveland that's up there now. That definitely changed, right?
Yes, that's changed ownership hands. Haslam, I forgot who was there before Haslam when he brought them in there. That's changed, but it hasn't. The winner hasn't, because Cleveland's a dumpster fire. We know Cleveland's a dumpster fire.
That's what I mean. Is
right.
So basically, what I'm saying is there has to be a complete and utter, the mentality of the people that are all involved. There has to be a change in understanding that this is the standard. Everybody,
I got the perfect example for what you're saying.
From the top to the bottom, everybody has to have this mentality. Period. If you don't have it, I don't care if you're on the bench, you're gone. I don't care if you're on the practice squad, you're gone. I don't care if you're the water boy, you're gone.
Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, when Kraft took over the Patriots, that is your perfect example of what you're saying. When somebody comes in and they sit there and they say, you know what, the whole culture has to change.
And he was not a part of it.
Who?
Kraft. And here's what I mean. He expected it to change, but as he told a young lady in the interview. I can't remember where he was interviewing at. Said, "I don't know nothing about football."
Mm-mm.
I looked at Bill. I said, "Bill, you obviously know more about football than me. You tell me what you need, and I'll make sure you have it." He let Bill set the standard. And as I always say, it takes two. And the players that he drafted, and the reason why he drafted them where he drafted them, although now it's coming back to bite him, he drafted the people that were going to be more than happy that they got drafted, and they were willing to do whatever they were asked. They were willing to be good soldiers and leave it out all out there on the field, because to show their appreciation for the fact that Bill was nice enough to pick them. Because
He
as we
turned
remember, he wasn't picking first round, he wasn't picking second round, so he
no
picked third on
third,
down.
fourth,
So
right. And how many Hall of Famers did he pick third, fourth, fifth round? Because his player personnel and his development he took a whole bunch of chicken shit and made it into chicken salad. And then you have other teams that have amplitude number one draft picks, top round draft picks. And because they're picking these players that I expected to be here and don't have no drive or anything in order to be that top person.
And they're allowed to be who they are. That's the other part. That's the other part.
They're allowed to be who they are, who they want to be, and what I want to do, and this is me, and you have to take me for who I am, and then you don't develop into anything. It's like you said, every time that happens, a lot of people don't realize in the first round in the NFL, if you're drafted in the first round, you are automatically a 4-year signing with an option for a fifth. So if they miss on that draft pick, you can literally set a franchise back 3 to 5 years before you can move on to something else. Look at Anthony Richardson with the Colts. This was year 3. And they got out underneath. They lucked up with Daniel Jones falling into their lap and doing that, because nobody at the beginning of the season, if with Anthony Richardson, would have thought that the Colts would have been 3-0 and went 19 straight drives with scoring points without punting.
and they've been going in. They've been going in with all kinds of posts. The latest post I saw was a picture of Brian Daboll, and it showed a picture of Saquon, he 3-0, a picture of Daniel Jones, he 3-0, and basically what this speaks to is what I always said: look at the entire picture. Don't just say, "Oh, well, oh man, the quarterback just can't get it done." But his line gives him,
his
like,
line is pretty much playing Matador.
He goes 1/1000, and he goes height. There's already 2 people by the time he goes 1. He can't even get to the end of 1/1000, and he's already running for his life. I'm sorry, that means something. If you calling plays, I'm really getting tired of this. There are some really good. I'm not saying that they're Derrick Henry. I'm not saying that they are Saquon. I'm not saying that they are a healthy Christian. But there are some teams that have some running backs. But because of the play calling plus the offensive line, for Christ's sake, why do you call 90% of your run plays for which you end up giving up? You're running up the middle where you see you can't go.
Because all it takes is one time for them to hit the hole the right time, and it's gonna break off into a long run.
And in their defense, even in the Dallas Chiefs game, I saw some of that. I still don't like it, but exactly what you said. There have been some games where I've seen that, but not enough to really let them get off. You're not running at the D linemen you're not running at the D linemen or the outside linebackers that are giving your that are giving your quarterback and the rest of the offensive line hell. Which that is why Micah was getting a bad rap, because there was a lot of times when they ran directly at him. It was like
they were trying to tire him out.
They were tiring him out, and they were literally taking him out of the play, because whoever was on him, and plus they probably had like 2 or 3, which if you run into play at him, that puts more blockers on him and to block his way. And then, like you said, that ends up making him tired. You do that for a whole season. That's why he disappears in the second half of the season. I'm saying.
But
so,
it also comes down to, if you're going to run, like the one reason why I love Detroit, Detroit's run game, is they understood, if I give the ball to David Montgomery's going to smash in the middle. He's going to smash into the line. He's going to get his 4 yards. He's going to hit somebody. He's going to start wearing them down. And then I can give it to Gibbs, and Gibbs can either hit that same hole with speed afterwards, or he can bounce it to the outside and he can outrun them. You got too many teams that are set up, or they might have it, like Dallas yesterday. You had Williams and you had what's the other running back? And you had Sanders.
Oh, Brownies.
You had Williams and you had Sanders.
Yeah, I heard that.
Both sitting up there doing, what was it? Williams run up the middle. Williams would break his tackles, or he would bounce to the outside and he would get his 7. Sanders would hit the hole and then bounce out there. If you see that it's gashing them and it's making them, last time I checked, if the more you run, you bring in the safeties in the corners up to try to support the run, and then you go over the top. You don't sit there and try to go over the top to loosen it for the running backs to go through that. You don't do that until they start sitting 8 in the box, 9 in the box, and then go up top.
Well, what it was whether it was him, whether it was Russell, they were trying to, instead of taking what they were giving, what they were being given, they didn't want to keep doing that. I kind of understand it, because he was hitting Ferguson about 3 yards out, and most of the time they was immediately just jumping Ferguson. I get that. But they were also getting the ball to Pickens, who was taking off and getting first downs.
Yeah.
So I will give him a pass for yesterday, because I can respect being frustrated because you're losing. I can respect that.
Because no matter what you was doing, Pickens to me stepped up. Once CD went down, he stepped up. He's like, okay, I'm number 1. I gotta take over that role. He stepped up and he did it. And it seemed like no matter what he did, somehow, some way, they would figure out a way to and give Chicago another chance to get another score, and then like, what the heck?
Like keeping with the passing. It's and matter of fact, and we're gonna break away, because this is a hot topic, but we got other stuff I want to talk about. Vision, running back vision, and the reason why I said that is because I got, like I said, on Tubi they got this thing called NFL re-airs, and they re-air games. So that's how I'm watching the Lions in Seattle from last year. Walker is a problem. Walker in Seattle is a problem. I started watching this game and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot how good he was.
He was a problem at whatchamacallit.
Man. But Javonte Williams, Sanders, Scatterboo is more of he's a bruiser. But Tracy, and it's unfortunate he got hurt, Tracy was nice too.
Yeah, Tracy was nice too.
Tracy looked like he might have some horses. But Scatterboo, it was like, I like Russ and all, but maybe if they think that y'all are going to be running it all the time, that would open up the passing a little bit. I'm just saying.
But they don't want to do that. They don't want that. They want it to be to where it is the art of, hey, we're gonna make it to where you're gonna see Russell Wilson throwing the football 40 yards down the field. You know that game against Dallas where he was just throwing it all over the place?
Just
That's gonna be every single game.
yeah, if every single team had a front seven like Dallas, but every
Dallas,
single
right.
team don't. They got some things to figure out. Dennis Allen's got some figuring out to do, especially with all the injuries. But I digress. But with that, we are going to move on because I told you that there was a subject that we were going to be talking about this week, and I gave you an idea of what it was,
Uh-oh.
and you said that you definitely understood why I wanted to talk about it, and you agreed with me that there was some BS in the soup. Okay, so Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts. Okay.
Yeah.
So why is it
Preach to him.
that with Jalen, when the offensive coordinator and the coach figure out that he can throw less and the team wins, it diminishes him as quarterback? It didn't diminish Roethlisberger, which, if anybody remembers that, leading up to the 2006 Super Bowl, he was the laughing meme for the longest because it came out that the Steelers figured out as long as they keep him around 20 passes or less,
He's
Steelers win.
okay. Yep.
Steelers win. If they take him over that too much, they lose.
Yeah.
They looked at Ben despite that, and they said that Ben was the man. They named him amongst Peyton. They named him amongst Brady. They named him amongst Drew Brees. They said he was elite. Like, oh my God. Like, I can't believe this is happening. It's happening and it's working. So it's okay for Ben to throw less so that his team wins and he gets to Super Bowls and he wins Super Bowls or loses Super Bowls, but it's not good for Jalen Hurts.
No.
My example number 2, and I like the guy. I'm not hating on any of these quarterbacks. I'm just trying to find out why there's so much manouche in the jello. My other guy plays now, like Jalen. Hasn't been to as many conference championships as Jalen. Has been to even less Super Bowls than Jalen. Josh Allen. And I even went and I looked at their numbers. I pulled them up on Pro Football Reference.
Yep. PFR.
Yeah.
Yep.
I looked at the differences in their attempts and completions. And I'm like, why is there so much hatred and disdain for the guy? Now, I will admit, looking at the TD interception ratio compared to Josh's, Josh had a lot more years where he was up there in the 30s and the 40s when it came to actually, where's Josh? There he is. Let's see here. TD ratio. He had 3 seasons where he had over 30, and he had 23 and 24. He had almost 30.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until last year that they decided to like okay, dude, maybe you should be throwing less than 40 times a game. Let's have you throwing less. Let's lean on the running game a little more, and let's see where we end up with it.
Right.
Last year, where'd he end up? He ended up he got as far as the AFC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
He even won the MVP. Yes, some could argue that Lamar should have won it again. He did have numbers where if he would have got it again, you would have been
nobody would have been upset.
Nobody should have been upset. You know what I say?
Nobody should have been upset with that.
There's always gonna be somebody upset.
I can't believe he did this.
Like he did it a third time. You gonna have the black supporters going, yes, Black Power, yes, and you know, you gonna have other people going, but what about my quarterback? And it's like, yeah, it is
What
what it
about your
is,
quarterback?
right?
Right.
Everybody has a right to their own opinion for whatever reason. Uh,
But
I don't understand it.
I,
It's
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 it's sad because it's always I've always grown up with the fact of your quarterback should be able to control the game and know with the pace of the game what you're supposed to do in order to win. And if you look at the quarterbacks that are in there right now, Roethlisberger, if people, a lot of people don't remember Roethlisberger when he was at Miami University because he was at Miami University.
right.
But he was throwing for 300, 400 yards a game at Miami University. Even when he got to the bowl games, he was throwing for 300, 400 yards in a game. But that was Miami University. That was matching, as SVP calls it. It was not the top tier. So when he got to the league and the speed was different, the controls was different for it, and they realized, yeah, he could put up these numbers, but we're not winning. Then it was like, okay, we want to make sure that you do this amount of passes a game, this amount here, and we have a run game behind you that will make it to where you don't have to do that much. It's not like they didn't have good wide receivers during that time frame. They had their Hines Wards, they had Antonio Brown before the CTE, they had who else did they have? They had Plaxico Burress, they had all those quarterbacks that was
Mike
during that,
Wallace.
and Mike Wallace. They had all those receivers during then, but they didn't need to because they always was balanced. And that's the thing. It's real easy for them to not for people to want to poo-poo on Jalen because they think that Jalen doesn't have the balance as a Roethlisberger does, but in all actuality, he's more balanced than what Roethlisberger is. Because when you look at what Jalen Hurts has, Jalen Hurts is legitimately their running back too. Because if it breaks down, he can break around the corner and get yards for you. The tush push has got it to where he's been the leading touchdown getter for running backs, for quarterbacks and running backs for a while now in there. You don't. And then he still has a starting running back, which, like we said at the beginning of the season, Saquon was not going to get the numbers that he got last year. Why? Because now everybody's going to try to key on Saquon. Can he get his yards and gaps and spaces in there? Yes. Will he rush for 2,000 yards this season? Probably not. But do they need for him to rush for 2,000 yards this season? No. If he rushes for 1,600 and you got Jalen throwing for 2,000 and gets at least 600, 700 rushing during that time frame with the complement receivers, you're going to be just as balanced as you was there. You don't have, it doesn't have to be, we have to get out, and I'm not saying the media has to get out of aspect of, for a quarterback to be successful in the NFL, he has to be putting up the 4,000, 5,000 yards a season type numbers, because lo and behold, let's be real, there's been a few of them, Burrow, Winston, that put up those numbers and they didn't even make it to the playoffs. So stop looking at it as it has to be because think about it from this standpoint from last season. Burrow, everybody started clamoring at the end of the season that Burrow should have been in the conversation for MVP because of all the passing stats that he had, right? But then Saquon wasn't getting any type of real love for the MVP race, and he almost broke one of the most sacred rushing records in league history, in the rushing, in breaking Dickerson's record. So you mean to tell me if Saquon would have broken Eric Dickerson's rushing record that has been in the league for over 30 years and led that team to the playoffs, that would have put him over a Josh Allen for the MVP?
There would have been people clamoring for it, but
they still would have gave it to Josh, though. They still would have gave it to Josh, because the fact of the matter is this: for some reason, and it's the same way as it is with the Heisman, it doesn't matter if you have to be the superstar, the head of the snake, in order for you to get to that point, in order to get selected, in order to be that MVP. That's why a lot of players take the player of the year more to heart than they do the MVP, because the MVP turns into a popularity contest. And Josh Allen, let's call spade a spade. He had a great season. Was it MVP season last year? No. To me, it wasn't. He would have finished third, because I would have gave that respect to Saquon. I would have gave that respect to because you have to think about it from this. The top 3 vote getters last year and for the MVP, I want to say it was Allen, then it was Lamar, then it was Saquon. That was the top 3 vote getters. Allen got it because he led Buffalo with who at that time they deemed no weapons, realistically, because Cook wasn't proven until Cook became proven at the beginning of the season last year, because a lot of people didn't know about Cook. They only knew him as Dalvin's brother.
Yeah, they improved that line that opened up the running game. So then he became known. Your boy Coleman was still trying to find
himself,
which put Josh in a bad situation. And then even though they had Amari Cooper, he just didn't pan out like they were expecting.
Cooper was on the back end of his career. That you knew that Cooper wasn't going to be there in that part of it. So you had all those. So I got why they gave it to Josh. But did Josh really deserve it? No. Lamar, for the numbers that he put up with Derrick Henry back there for him, which took some of the pressure off of it, but he still put up those numbers with Derrick Henry back there. I would have said, okay, yeah. And then Saquon, in the midst of everything that had been going on, did anybody expect for Saquon to have that season last year? No. Did anybody expect for them to pretty much ride him to where said subject matter with Jalen Hurts saying, well, he needs to do more. He has to do this with that. He didn't have to. You have Saquon right behind you. You have Mr. I'm going to jump backwards over people behind you. Why do I have to do anymore? Because the last time I checked, the whole purpose of everything that we do in the NFL is to win games, get to the playoffs, win the Super Bowl. The stats come into play when I'm trying to get paid. But if my stats is pretty much on par with everybody in that top tier, and I'm winning and I'm going to Super Bowls, why am I going to care?
Well, and that's the rub, because even last year, 2,900 yards, I'm not gonna say I don't see some of the criticism, but the reason why he only had to put up 2,900,
because you got a running back that put up $2,000,
right? And it's like,
if you look at the imbalance of the NFL last year, realistically, if as the NFL stats for the full season of teams with their yards that they put out throughout that entire season, for how many teams had gaudy yardage and it was no balance and they didn't last? Shoot, let's call a spade. Detroit for the league. Hold on, I need to see that, because that's gonna make me think, and I like when I get to think. Brain starts working. Gay. NFL offensive numbers 2000. No, why are you going there? I don't want that.
Cook barely got over 1,000 yards last year, and Josh had almost 4,000. I don't know if I completely agree with the fact that.
But he had 4,000 to 1, right? 4,000 yards for Josh, 1,000 yards rushing for Cook, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who was after? Hold on. Offensive total team stats. Here we go. Buffalo averaged 257 passing, 163 rushing per. No, I want last season. Stop doing this to me. You're lying. Baltimore had the most yards last season, right?
Yeah.
Their passing was 4,035 yards. Their rushing was 3,189. So they had 3,000 yards rushing amongst their running backs and another 4,000 yards passing. Balance. Detroit was 2 with 69-62. They had 44-74 passing, 24-48. So you want to have your rushing and your passing at least a 2-to-1 in order to make it to where it's because you that way it keeps you honest with that. And let's be real, it's not been a lot of real big chunk runs like it used to be. Once they got through the line, they was just outrunning running backs. You got linebackers that's as fast as running backs now.
And the lines aren't nearly what they
They're
used
not
to
the
be in
hogs.
terms of in terms of health, in terms of being able to do the job and everybody be on the same page at the maximum at a high level. It just yeah, it's just whatever's going on that's causing all that, which is only the players know like what all is causing that, obviously. But what
Wow. Look
what's
at it.
up?
This. Look at this. Okay. So here's the crazy part about this, right?
Right.
Everybody is at almost a 2-to-1 ratio for their stats, for their rushing to their passing. Tampa Bay was third with 4,200 yards passing, 2,500 yards rushing. San Fran was 4,200 yards passing, 2,200 yards rushing. Green Bay was 3,800 yards passing, 2,400 yards rushing. They was a little bit less than that 2-to-1. You go down. Philadelphia was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, eighth ranked offense. They're the only ones that was almost dead 50-50. 3,194 yards passing, 3,048 yards rushing for the season.
Yeah. If you do if you're unpredictable, you're easier to if you're unpredictable, you're harder to defend.
And this
And and
in
if
a copycat league, why hasn't that thought process pushed through yet?
because we're still because the one thing that still has rung true to an extent, although yes, it um that's the way it used to be. The ones that were had all the stats, their teams were winning. Their teams were going to the Super Bowl. Their teams were spending a lot of time in the playoffs. Their teams were always dangerous to be in the Super Bowl. Now, you're not going to see a whole lot of New England Patriot 20-year dominances. I don't care how many Super Bowls they do or don't go to. You're not going to see that. So that's why people don't want to follow that, although they should, because and the only reason I say that is this, because you're setting a standard. Everybody understands what the standard is.
Yep.
And they understand that you will not be here if you do not follow that standard. It doesn't matter how good you are. That was the only thing that was good about that was the main thing that was good, that and the winning, obviously. That was good about that whole situation. So you can say whatever you want about Bill. Oh, well, he didn't let the players be themselves. If I gotta not if I gotta not let the players be themselves, and yet people can't figure out how to beat me, whether I'm accused of cheating or not, boom.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't deny it.
I'm sorry. Whether I'm accused of cheating or not, you couldn't beat me, and you always had the better team than I did.
Right.
And you know me, I'm a Patriot guy, but even last week I showed you, yeah, I'm a Patriot guy, but damn it, I'm competitive. I want to win.
I want to win.
I know my team. Yeah, my team ain't winning this week. Me and you talked about it because you're Ohio State and I'm Michigan.
Who's Ohio State? No, ever put that on me. Don't put that moniker on me. I am a Bearcat.
Oh, my bad.
Ooh,
Well, we've talked about that game, and you heard me say that I did not expect them to win last year.
No,
they weren't. I tell people now that I understand that they weren't supposed to win that game last year. It still boggles my mind how that game went down the way it did.
You don't understand the fact of me running around in my neighborhood out, and I think it was snowing, and I was sitting up there like, Buckeyes lost, just because I can't stand them. I can't. I will sit there. There is nothing, and I know folks we're going off the rails with this one, but there is nothing worse in living in Cincinnati than an Ohio State Buckeye fan and a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Nothing worse. Nothing. I can deal with you being a Cleveland Browns fan if you're in Ohio. You're in Ohio. But if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and you're in Cincinnati, I want to beat you over the head with something like, where's your allegiance? Why are you here? Go there.
But to be fair, looking at the track record of both teams,
and you know what? That's fine. I get that. I get that. And don't get me wrong. Some of the but my biggest question when I ask somebody this is why? Why are you a fan? If your reasoning is because Mike Tomlin is an African American head coach, okay, I got you. I feel you on that.
I don't, but go ahead.
Right, I know, but some people that's what they want to hold it on.
Right.
If you've had a player that you followed and that went there, that's fine. My biggest thing is that as a 40-something-year-old adult, we have only seen them win since the heyday when they won the 4. We've only seen them win 2.
Yeah, they've been to 4. If I'm not mistaken, they've been to 4 and they won.
They've been to 4. They won 2. So in 40 years, they've been to 4, won 2. You cannot, if you are not born circa 1960, hold on to, or in your family before you was fans of it and they passed it down to you, you cannot sit there and say, oh, well, look at the rings. You wasn't even alive for more than half of them. Get out of here. Come on. We experienced championships. I give you that for the 2. But you cannot sit up there and say, I was the apple of my parents' eye when they won the 4. Get out of here. And that's the same way when it comes to Ohio State. Ohio State, yes, you are the biggest college in the country. You're the biggest college here. But yes, for all the grandeur and everything else. But how many times have y'all gotten to that promised land and wet the bed? Legitimately wet the bed. The one thing that I could sit there and say about Ohio State is they always are the first team to do something when it comes to a bowl championship. They are always the first one to win a championship, and then they never win another one until the next iteration comes out. Then they're the first one to do that one again. Look at their track record. And call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
Ryan Day wouldn't even be their head coach right now had they lost in that playoff at all, especially after that debacle at Michigan. But you know,
they needed some motivation. They needed some motivation.
That gave them some motivation. That gave them some ample motivation getting that flag planted in the middle of that.
Which they shouldn't have. Yeah,
that
ruined
that ruined the moment. But the best line of it was that, hey, you should know how to lose with some dignity.
Although I will say no. I'm a Michigan fan, and I'm no.
I'm not a fan of it
because if it had been the other way around, and as crazy as this sounds, I actually became a fan of Sawyer, and I hope he does well with Pittsburgh. Speaking of Pittsburgh, because that's who drafted him. But because he was the one that ripped it away once, and then when they didn't get the hint, he completely destroyed it. It's like okay, like, you know what? Because if that was my house, yeah, no, that's what you're not doing. You're not planting that flag in my house. I don't care what they do to me. I don't care what they do to the school. You are going to understand that you are not planting that flag. You know, that's just a respect my house. kind of situation. And I don't want you to lose with some dignity. Well, last I checked, this ain't a WWE match. Winner plants the flag. Yeah.
I don't. But
So
but that's the whole point. That's a whole point that we can go down that rabbit hole another time. That's the whole point of the whole respect thing. I came up in an era to where your rivals, you hated them, like to this day. Like I said, I'm from Cincinnati. I went to Purcell. I'm cool with people for Roger Bacon, but when it comes to that game, I don't with you point blank. After that game, we could dap it up, have a drink, whatever. But during that game, no, because I can remember one of the stories that I always have in my head was that the running back for our team that was one of my teammates came from Roger Bacon and came over. He was there as a freshman. He came over when I came over to Purcell the sophomore year, and he was probably one of the best scat backs that we had in the 90s during that time frame from there. And that first game against them, you heard that coach saying, put him out the game. Like literally try to go hit him and try to put him out the game. So what does my coach turn around and say? If they come at him at the wrong angle with that or do anything else with it, I want you to hit them and put them into the bench. Okay, coach, whatever you want me to do. What happens? Linebacker tries to come and tries to illegally crack back him. One play, barely misses him. I say, all right, that's my target. Came through on a wide receiver crackback, hit him, picked him straight up underneath the shoulder pads, and kept running toward the sideline and dumped him onto his bench. Flag, personal foul, necessary roughness, 15-yard penalty. I was like, it was worth it. He ain't do it again. Why? Because that's your rival. That sets the tone. But there was still a respect factor. We weren't gonna sit there and go stomp on the middle of your logo if it was a away game at Roger Bacon. Because here's the thing: truth be told, Purcell didn't have a home field. Roger Bacon had their own home field. How are we going to stop on somebody else's home field and we can't get it back ourselves? You're going to be stomping in the middle of the Norwood Indians logo? Because that's where we were playing our games.
Yep. Oh,
so,
man.
But that's what I'm saying. So that whole respect thing, when it comes to it, I've never been a fan of it. I've never have. When it started becoming a fad, and your boy was the one that started it, Mr. Baker Mayfield.
Hey.
Oklahoma, Ohio State.
Yeah, he did.
That's
he
who
did
started it.
How he's been considered the one that started it. But and I thought some people online were like debunked in that, but I don't remember who they said was the first one. But yeah, bottom line, I understand the rules of engagement. Now, my competitive side should have been on the side of yeah, they was wrong for stopping him, and agreeing with everybody that said you need to learn how to become you need to learn how to be a better loser. But I don't care about the losing part. It's the what you think you're gonna do in my house part. It's like
right. Like,
so,
hold up, because you gotta come back. You gotta come back around normally, unless you graduate. You gotta circle back.
Right, and you know, we may see each other out in public. So I mean, you know, we gotta
exactly.
we gotta make sure. But la. Okay, all right. We're gonna do this real quick because I saw this one and it intrigued me mainly because of the comment that I saw. So it's called Stardom, bench them, get rid of them.
Yeah.
So the comment that I saw down there that made me laugh, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna hopefully you know me long enough as to why I laughed. So the comment said that they would start Tebow, they would keep Cam, and they would they would cut because it was called it was called start bench cut.
Mm-hmm.
They would cut Vince Young. And I immediately started laughing when I saw it.
What?
Cause I was like, so you don't want to win a championship. That was the one thing that popped into my head. Because you benched a guy that won the championship and a Heisman. And I get Tebow, if I'm not mistaken, he won the Heisman, right?
Yes.
And but you benched the two guys that won championships, ironically, I think, against the same team. Didn't they both beat Ohio State?
No. Vince beat USC. Tebow. I forgot who Tebow was. I didn't think it was Ohio State that he beat.
No, I'm
But
talking about Cam.
Cam beat Oregon.
Okay.
That was the only time Oregon made it to the national championship game. One of the only times. And Cam beat him. Yep, because no, Oregon made it twice. Because Cam beat them, and then Ohio State beat them when the BCS BCS first started. That was Mariota.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, but that's a good question. And who did he beat during that? Because I don't remember that one. What's the search? Exit. Tebow national championships. Tebow got 2 titles.
You know what?
That's
right.
06, he won one as a sophomore. And then
Did they win one the next year too?
08, there was a year between them.
Oh, okay. Well, I know one of them years that they won, it was all the rage because Florida ended up winning back-to-back.
Oh, you know what? That's crazy. Oh, wait a minute. No, was it 07 and 09? Let me go back. Because he won the national championship the year after Ohio after the USC Texas championship game. Oh, where'd it go? He won the Heisman. Yeah, it was 07 against Ohio State. He did beat Ohio State. He won the BCS against Ohio State that year.
So I guess reassessing it.
No, I'm not reassessing it. So, okay, so here's my question. And this is where the positioning of that question comes into play. Are we going by just their college stats, or are we going for their entire careers, for college and pro?
I'm pretty sure, I want to say that they were going for college.
Because if they're going for college, then if you're going strictly for college, then I'm sorry. Tebow's a starter. Vince is the person that you would cut Cam. I would cut Cam. And the only reason why I'm saying
he only had
the one season
where Vince was okay.
Yeah, because that makes more sense. And when you think about it, when it comes to Cam, there's a photo if you look on Wikipedia with Cam with Tim Tebow at Florida.
Right.
Cam was the first person that you could literally sit there and say transfer portal. Because he went to Auburn in order to get himself situated into that position, and he lucked up to be in a perfect situation for that. So Cam in that light, nah, you're gone, buddy. Because here's the thing, everybody has to always think back to where if there was a quarterback that was similar to Cam and they plugged him into Auburn, would Auburn have won that national championship that year? That's where that question comes into play. With Tebow was the reason Florida won them 2 natties. Vince Young played in probably the greatest college football game, one of the greatest college football games ever. I hate Vince Young because he made me cry that day. But I still respect him for that. Oh, I was pissed. I'm sorry. That was at the height of the greatest show on turf with the Rams. So you had Marshall Faulk and everybody that was there, and then you had the greatest show on grass, which was USC during that time frame. And they used to go that game. Everybody thought that they was going to win that game. And I kept telling people in school, like, I love my Trojans, but they might not win this. How you get to stay up and watch the Trojans? I mean, I don't have a life except for sports. So I sit up at night, especially after football or anything, and sit there and watch football games all night on a Friday and Saturday. Trojans is nasty. Reggie Bush is a god.
Yeah, but Texas's defense was
nasty. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I still remember. I that game still makes me mad to this day. But I will always give them their props for what it is, for what they do in that limelight, and that right there is to where it's like I can't get mad at it. I can't get mad at it at all. So, yeah, in that instance of it, Tim Tebow, to be fair, Tim Tebow would be another one of the quarterbacks that we would put in the previous conversation when we were talking about the game managers. Like, they get on Hurts and they get on Allen and they get on and they got on Roethlisberger. When he was successful in Denver, it was because they did not have him throw all the time. They let him run the ball, and then every once in a while he threw. When they started to make him throw, he got exposed, because the college game, even the SEC, is way different than the NFL. So that's what caused him to bow out so early. But at that,
and people, he really wanted to be a quarterback, and everybody was like, "We'll take you as a tight end." The Patriots were willing to do it, but once he wouldn't come off the whole quarterback situation, Belichick was like, "Nope,
because he was seen more as an athlete than a thrower."
Yeah, I mean, and they sent him to like the top quarterback developers in the nation, and it still didn't work. And like I said, I commend him for sticking by what he really wanted to do. But my question is couldn't he have just so he could have continued to play, pull what Slash did. Slash said, "Okay, I'll do what you say," and then he ended up moving back to being a quarterback.
He could have, and I won't dispute that fact at all that he could have. I just think in my head, when you start thinking about what Tebow could have been with all of them, let's be real, all of them, if you really think about it, was the exact same style of quarterback. It was just different levels of arm talent that you had. Tebow did not have that much arm talent. He could throw the ball, but he didn't have that much control and accuracy. Cam, again, could throw the ball, wasn't as accurate. Young had a little bit more accuracy and a little bit more touch. That's why when you look at Vince Young's career, his career lasted the longest pretty much of all three of them. But Vince Young just got thrown into a bad situation coming behind Steve McNair in Tennessee, and it never really panned out for it. Cam is Cam, a shit show. And then Tebow was, we want you to be an athlete instead of that. And Cam, they all was run first, throw second. If it broke down, there was one read, we gone. Young at least could read an offense, could read a defensive package. Cam and Tebow, I never thought could.
You know what, man? We gonna do some research, and I gotta, cause that one, and Jamarcus Russell. Well, actually, I kind of understand. I feel like I understand what happened there, but I still want to do some research. I think we should do some research on him and
On
figure.
Jamarcus?
No,
I'm about to say on Jamarcus, the research is he was horrible.
Vince.
When-
Well, I
when-
mean, and I will eventually want to talk about him because that whole thing was just confusing as hell. It's like you win a national championship, you get drafted, you show up. Didn't he show up out of shape?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure because I know I remember Maurice Claret doing that. I like to make sure that I had the facts right when I speak it to see how well my memory is still working. So, um, so yeah, that is it's like wow. Yeah, I definitely would like to delve into that a little bit because that's one of those. It's like, dude, you were supposed to be something, and to me, and we'll move on to the next topic because I actually found an extra topic that I didn't tell you about, but I did kind of want to talk about it because it started out being out about one person, and then this post I found ended up being about his daddy. Um, so 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 I said his daddy, so you know who we about to talk about.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I would like to delve into that because to me, black scrambling quarterbacks that didn't get their respect, part of that was players like Jamarcus, players like Vince Young. That's where
Yeah.
part of that came from.
Yeah.
So
But that was the whole
as much as they want to put the color thing on it, please you can add that to the picture. Just don't forget the rest of it. There's a whole picture here.
and I had this argument with my son and talking about different things when it came to black quarterbacks and everything. And he asked me a question. He was like, Dad, if I was going to grow up and be a quarterback, would you want me to be a running style quarterback or would you want me to be a pocket passer? And I told him honestly, I said, I want you to be a pocket passer. And he was like, why? I said, because your first instinct should be, let me read the defense and go through my progressions and then get the ball downfield. If I don't see it or I can feel the rush coming at me, then I run. It shouldn't be one, let me look over here to the right. Nobody's there. I'm out. Because every time you might look to their right and that linebacker's coming from left to right, you don't see him. He cracks you. But if you sit there and you wait and you see that linebacker tries to start spying to come towards you and your player goes around the back end of it, then now you got an open receiver. I always pushed for that because the running should be an extra tool in your toolbox from you being what you're supposed to be, which is the quarterback that's moving the team. Not just sitting up there thinking, okay, I get the ball, hike, and just run. Because a lot of quarterbacks that did that, they didn't last long. So I know that's a touchy topic with a lot of people when it comes to that. And I'm like, hey, you can get mad at me all you want to, but at the end of the day, look at all your favorite quarterbacks that you love during that era of running and doing that. A lot of them played 5 to 7 years. That was it.
And none of them got close to a Super Bowl. And
No.
most of their linemen complained about the same thing. They never knew where they were going to be, which can, as a quarterback, can get you hurt.
Yep.
If they don't know where you're going to be so that they can properly block you, that's going to get you hurt. So and there have been so many offensive linemen that have expressed the same. That's the same thing that they've expressed. It's that's the one thing that they hate about scrambling quarterbacks is not knowing where they're going to be. If you're not
I
a
mean,
scrambling quarterback, we know we have a good idea of where you're going to be. Therefore, it makes things easier. And hearing that, you kind of cringe a little bit, but at the same time, what is a quarterback's job? Is a quarterback's job to do running back things? No. It's to look through your progressions as quickly as possible, preferably in less than 3 seconds.
mm-hmm.
Look through your progressions, get the ball out to somebody. I kept screaming last night, whether it was the Giants game or the Cowboys game, whether it was Dak or whether it was Russell. Throw the ball.
Wow. Why are you holding to? Because there's a difference between holding the ball to letting your players get downfield and holding the ball, wishing that somebody gets open.
Well, they were doing they unfortunately were doing a little bit of both, but it was mostly the whole let them get downfield and get open. No, you ain't got that. Your line ain't giving you that kind of time.
No.
So between you and the offense coordinator and the offensive line coach, y'all should all be working together during the week. You understand your level of offensive line. Now, how do we base our plays based upon that? And on top of basing it upon the talent that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one thing that I give you with Pickens yesterday is exactly what I said should happen. Why? Because I saw CD do it. Because CD had instances where he got mad that he wasn't getting the ball. So they started saying, okay, well, let's change you up. Instead of having you run straight, we're gonna have you. We're gonna put you in the slot over here. We're gonna put you in the slot over there. We're gonna have you cut here. You're gonna do a 5-yard out, a 7-yard out, a 10-yard out. And it's like, bottom line, change it up.
Right. Definitely with that.
So and with that, we're gonna move forward. That's fun. Obviously, we got a whole season. We gonna talk about this
Oh
again.
yeah, we gonna talk about that.
So okay. Boy, Shador. I wanted to talk about this last week when it came up that he had said something. And I heard people talking about it, and I didn't like where they were going with it. I didn't like where they were going with it just because of what it felt like. The reason that I felt like they were saying that he should have went over there with Lamar. One, why are we talking about Shador?
Because it's sensational.
I look at that situation just like the Caleb situation. It comes out of nowhere, and it's like, why are y'all talking about this right now? Y'all should have been talking about this last year when he first got to Chicago, when it was fresh.
It's stupid.
And that's the one thing I will give the media this year. They at least mentioned something that happened this year. That's about as much as I will give them grace with it. Other than that, who cares who he decided not to go to? We know there were some teams that he did not want to go to. Obviously, if he wants to be a starter, he's not going to Baltimore. He's not going to Buffalo. Obviously. So why do I even need to know that there was a conversation where he could have ended up in Baltimore but chose not to because he knew he wasn't going to be the starter? That's a no-brainer. Why? Because he said he wanted to be a starter. His dad expected him to be a starter somewhere. So he ain't taking that. When they say that out loud, they're basically telling you, I ain't taking a back seat to nobody.
But you're doing it right now. That's the crazy part.
Well, he's doing it. He's doing it right now. But look where he's doing it.
And
he's
that's
doing
the
it somewhere.
word
And he's doing it somewhere. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Just the history of Cleveland. As much as I understand, he understands that he could end up being a starter, whether Dylan Gabriel is there or not. Um, I Cleveland, bro. You put yourself in line to go to Cleveland. Technically, if he had went to the Giants, he would have been going into a bad situation. If he hadn't done what he did or didn't do, whatever you choose to believe, although I seeing the although people are capable of doing it, I don't see, especially since he at first he was anonymous, and then when people started screaming racism, he made it a point to put his name out there. Like, okay, it was me. You remember me,
Yeah.
the coach that's on the team that planned on drafting him? Yeah, it was us. It was us that the bad interview happened with. Well, and while
Mhm.
some people chilled out, there were obviously social media people can say what they want. I don't care about this. And no, he should not have gone over there because of what could Lamar had taught him that had anything to do with football. His dad, as much as people want to talk smack about his dad, he is young, but he also shows maturity.
Yeah.
So really, there ain't a whole lot that Lamar could have showed him on how to be that his daddy ain't gonna make sure, because his daddy gives me the vibe that he's like me. I told my kids, I don't care how old you get, don't you walk around nowhere misrepresenting how me and your mothers intended to raise you. Don't
Yep.
you don't you put nothing bad on me. You're not just representing yourself, you're representing me. You're representing your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Although he the thing with the tickets, it's a big deal, but yet it's not. The fact that you got so many so quick, that's the part that makes it a bigger deal, because it does point to your decision making. So I'm with Cowherd on that, because your actions, and that's why these people, and I feel like we really need to have some time to really talk about this. Everybody always in the name of supporting, you got to support our people. Oh, they got off the field issues. What they got to do with on the field issues?
No,
Decision making.
because it throws it. I can't. I'm gotten to a point now to where I get where they say stand up for your people. I get that.
Yeah,
But the standing up for your people legitimately mean that no matter what they do, you stand beside them. At some point, you have to be a person before you are a before you are Caucasian, before you are African American, before you are a Latino Hispanic, you have to be a person. And if it's not right with what the person is doing as a person, that should supersede anything that comes to color, skin, everything else. Because sometimes that becomes where you're condoning things just because the fact of they're the same skin color as you, or they're the same nationality as you, and everything else with it. We have became a society that likes to be involved in groups, but want to always yell out our individuality instead of yelling out our individuality and then saying, but we also are also a part of this group. So when we have those instances to where, yes, no matter what the off the field stuff is that's in there, we gonna condone it. Doesn't make no sense, because if it was you doing it and you're not that same level of athlete, or that same have that same social status as that person that you're condoning, if you were doing that, would those people still come back and defend you? Would they still let give you a pass because it's you doing it? Or is it because we give celebrities so much of a high standard and athletes so much of a high standard that unless they are crashing out, we condone what they're doing until it's to a point to where it gets to a point to where we can't even sit there and say ourselves, you know what, I can't even condone that. And it's one that's been going on for like the past couple of days, and I know you've seen the clips of it, and that person in its own right, it's getting to a point to where it's downright sad and you can't condone it.
Well, I mean, I don't like all this talk of letting people be themselves, and to an extent you should, but the
Mm-hmm.
one thing that you should not do is move the goalpost when it comes to what the standard of common sense and what the standard of common sense and just doing the right things,
Mm-hmm.
um what that is. And just because they shouldn't do it more because they're a celebrity, more because they're a politician, more because they're an athlete than you or I would. And that's the problem. We always moving the goalposts on what the standard is, so that in the moment, in certain situations, we can justify. And I've told you that I've come up with this thing, and I've called it this, and I'm hoping to figure out some ways to come up with my show so that I can actually use it a lot more. But justification and interpretation based upon personal benefit. We can literally see the cons versus the pros, see that the cons are visibly worse, but because we want to do it so bad, we'll go, oh, but there's pros. So yes, I can do what I want to do despite the fact of what the cons is going to be. And then I'm gonna turn around, and once I'm caught, I'm gonna call people haters, and I'm gonna call the cops a hater. I'm gonna call if I'm cheating on my girl and I get caught. If the girl is cheating on the guy and she get caught, he the hater. He should have been doing this. He should have been doing that. And you could have just broke up with him and still gotten into that relationship, and you're not having that conversation. Now what?
Right.
And I've been guilty of doing some dirt. Not that many times, but as many times doesn't matter. And that's a good example of what I mean by, oh well, I didn't do it that many times. You come on, you know me, you've known me a long time. I'm a good person. Like, you still did something wrong. What's your point?
Right.
Even the best people do something wrong. But a lot of people liked Bill Clinton as a president. He still cheated on his wife, and then had the nerve to turn around and go on national television and go, oral sex is not sex. Bro, you trying too hard to get out of this. Stop. Just stop. Just don't say anymore. Just please. You're hanging on to my support by a thread. You don't know it, but you are. I can't support that. Stop talking now. I'm gonna pretend you didn't say it. I'm gonna pretend you didn't say it. I'm gonna pretend you didn't go on national TV and lie. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, which would explain why you would say oral sex is not sex. But I digress. Back to the original topic. Dion was basically floored that people were going after him, and he's right. You don't have to like Dion. Like, why are people trashing him because he didn't want to go somewhere? Now, yes, would it have been a better spot than Cleveland? Yes. I could think of a lot of spots that would have been better, that had things not progressed the way they did, where he could have ended up. Even though Seattle ended up with Sam Darnold, they could have got him. Even though Vegas ended up with Geno, they also should have took a look at him. I'm not a total hater on the dude. I just don't like all the overhype. If you actually look at his track record for what it is, he got a lot of overhype. Same with Caleb Williams. Good athlete, good quarterback. But there was a lot of work there that needed to be done. And somebody needed to move his yes people out the way, and they needed to feed him the reality. And they did not do that. So in Shador's case, the NFL did it for everybody, and they got vilified for it.
And
Okay.
and that's where it's like they can't even, I don't even know what to even put that with, because they should have done what they needed to in that whole play of it. They should have done that. It's not, they want to try to sit there and they want to condone what happened. or they want to try to push that narrative on there for it, why? What's the point? What's the full point of it? Just do right now. Shador's best thing that he could do right now is play your position, learn, chill,
Look
let
and
the
see.
opportunity come to you.
Look and see what Flacco's going through. And when they come over to the sidelines and they're going through what happened, why it went wrong, or what happened and why it went right, make sure you're paying attention to all that. Also, be looking at it and analyzing for yourself to see if you see anything that they don't see.
Right. Because that
Which
way, if they're doing it, then you should be cool.
then that will show the coaches, hey, he's paying attention. He's being a positive part of the team. Maybe if something happens, maybe we can try to see about sticking him in.
And
But
that's
now
what
see your let them see your maturity. Let them see the part of them that they didn't hear with the noise that came out of with the stuff. I'm not even gonna call it noise because noise is the same thing as shade, which again, I got a segment where we gonna cover that word shade because I had to give somebody a reality check. Truth, the truth that came out about you that made people pause and not look at you anymore. Quiet that down. And that's hard. It's hard, but that's what we got to do.
Because that's all of the things to where when it comes down to those type of situations that's there for it, they've got to figure out where I knew this was going to be a crap show when it happened and when it started, but I didn't expect for it to become as much of a crap show as it became with him being a third string quarterback. Last time I checked, some teams don't even have a third string quarterback. Why are you being the subject matter? Why are you a part of the conversation? Just do what you need to do.
People need that money in their pocket so they know what hot buttons to hit. Like, hey, y'all, Trump. What? Trump, son of a
Right. But at the end of the day, even with that hot button topic that you have, it's not going to change the fact of you are not good enough to be out there on that field right now. You're not as good as what they said they claim to be. And I think if anything, with what's been going on with his father and his father's situation with his team, it makes it even worse to where you're sitting there doing this because you were the perfect storm. You was the hot shot quarterback on your father's team, which screamed nepotism. But we gave you a pass because we wanted to see you succeed. We wanted to see you win. We wanted to see you go do what you was meant to do out here in this league. Cool. But at the same time, you never lit it up when you was out there. You had glimpses, but you never really lit it up. Uh-oh, what's the face? What's the face?
I forgot Raw started at 7.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I thought that you made that face before. Yeah. They started early for some reason because they were in Evansville, Indiana.
So they're an hour behind. Yeah, okay. All right. So they're behind hour behind. So they started on time.
No, they started at 7:00 Eastern.
Yeah, but if I'm not,
it would be 6. They started at 6:00 for some reason. I have no idea why. I do not like. I understand the flexibility that them being on Netflix gives them.
Yeah.
But I do not like the fact of barring you being overseas.
Right.
Raw starts at 8:00. It could be 5:00. It could be 6:00. Raw starts at 8. Don't keep on switching it just because. And they do it a little bit too much now. Because when they said that, when I get the little updates from Adam Pierce when he talks about what's coming up on the show and everything for it. When they said that, I was like, wait a minute, what? Why is it coming on down? What?
Back to
we get sidetracked.
My bad.
It's okay.
That was my bad. Back to what you were saying about Dion and how the team is going.
both of them need to realize that lightning in the bottle that they captured in Jackson State and translated over to Colorado, barring some type of miracle, is probably about to dwindle to a fizzle. And the only person that's going to come out there that has somewhat semblance of a career out of that whole group beyond this point is Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
The rest of them, they all rode his coattails. I hate to say it, but they really did. And even Dion, to a certain extent, rode his coattails.
I would love to see what my Buccaneers, who ended up cutting him, what they saw in his brother.
Nothing. Come on now, think about it. Did you hear anything about Shiloh when he was at Colorado?
He was considered the one that
better,
needed
pure
more
athlete.
work.
Right.
Of the three, he needed the most work. The second was Shador, and the least of them was Travis.
And that's why I said, like, it doesn't. Travis, we knew Travis was going to be good when Travis was the #1 recruit coming out. But to me, in all actuality, Travis underperformed in college. Had he kept his commitments to go someplace to where he really would have been showcased, could you imagine Travis Hunter with Ohio State doing both ways, with Oregon going both ways, with Alabama going both ways?
Would they have let him? Would the bigger schools have let him? Would have been my immediate
with the
question.
talent that he had, they would have probably tested it out in his freshman year. And if they would have seen that he could have pulled it off, I think they would have let him. Because at that point, then you got to think about it. In those larger schools, that's an attraction on top of you being a regular squad.
Yeah.
And if he's your best, most of those coaches always said the same thing. We put our best players out there in their positions. If he's your best wide receiver, which let's call a spade, was he the best wide receiver that came out last year? Would he have been the best wide receiver at Ohio State last year?
No.
So that's where I'm saying you got that Heisman because you stood leaps and bounds above everybody else at both positions, so they thought, at that school in that conference. But realistically, it's easy to pad your stats against middle of the road. We had this conversation. It's easy to pad your stats against middle of the road.
You don't have to tell me because I basically was when it came to Shador, I've been the one screaming this whole time leading up to the draft. I went through and I looked at his record. That's why I'm always able to explain it to people. Yeah, his best college years were at Jackson State. And
Yes.
and I asked my people that I was talking to about it, I said, how many people do you hear talking about the swag? And they were like, well, the NFL does draft people, yeah, but compared to the other conferences, and he goes, oh well, yeah. They would all do the same thing. Oh well, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm like, exactly. So you doing something there is like me, and I always tease it, beat a dead horse mode. That's like me going on my game, all my people on 99%.
Right.
And I'm killing the team, and yet I'm looking at somebody like you that don't do all that, and you a Madden killer, and I'm like, yeah, bro, I could come up to your level, I could beat you, bro. No. Let's be realistic. I'll be lucky if I can keep up because I don't play it. I don't play on the same level that you do.
But and that's the thing. It's not. It's about knowing your team. So you can sit there. The one thing in that Madden comparison that you can give out there, if you sit there and you say, okay, I'm going to use the all-time New England Patriots squad.
Okay.
So all the top players in every position in Patriots history is all on one team.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, give me the 2001 St. Louis Rams.
Yep.
I know that squad because I know what's in there for that entire squad, for that setup. You know the Patriots that you know from their eras that they played with there. But it might be some players you've never heard of that's on that squad. So it's easier for me to sit there and key in on what I want to do with that squad versus what you're trying to do with it, because I know that 2001 St. Louis Rams squad.
Right.
When it comes down to that, it's real easy. He had the event, he created the Avengers for him in the SWAC. And that Avengers squad for him turned into the Thunderbolts when he got to the Big 12. Were they good? Yeah. Were they the Avengers? It wasn't at that level. So now his Thunderbolts are gone. Now you're trying to form the Young Avengers, and you still got Thanos and everybody else snapping their fingers, and now you got Dr. Doom coming against you. Good luck, because at this point, you're going to need to turn into Charles Xavier in order to make that Colorado squad look good with some telepathy. But that's just how that rolls. It's just not if they're all still in the conversation for anything in the mainstay of the NFL, that's the next step. The next step will be either that's what it's going to be. Deion's going to become a head coach in the NFL. That's the next step. Where? I don't know. Please don't let it be Cincinnati, because it'll be a circus.
Yeah, anywhere he goes, it's going to be a circus. But I think that's why everybody is thinking. That's why Colin Cowherd was thinking it's going to be Cleveland, because that's where he's going to do a LeBron and want to go where his son is. So,
but if that's the case, then, and I hate to say it, but you know what? I want that to happen. I want that to happen, because all that does is prove the point that we started the show out with. When we were talking about ownerships and their means of not thinking about the product, but about the profit, it makes all the logical sense in the world getting ready to move into a multi-billion-dollar taxpayer help funded football stadium in Cleveland that will probably be the first Ohio location to host the Super Bowl within the next 10 years, to hire somebody that's going to be the glitz and the glamour, and they're going to give him enough years on that contract in order for him to be able to be there when that stadium opens. And by that time, but here's the problem. By that time, you better hope and pray that your son has developed into the quarterback that you think of him to be. Because let's be real, it takes about 3 years to build a NFL stadium now.
mm-hmm.
3 to 3.5 years. So that will put him in year 2, 3, and 4, which is his entire rookie contract. Nope, he only got a 3-year deal because he was a 5th rounder. So he probably got 3. So he'll have to be up for a renewal of his deal or his option year right around when that stadium is up. Y'all can't be 500. You can't be 500. You need to be pushing for somebody else with that. You need to be pushing that envelope to that top level. Because if you're not, done. You're done.
I really, like I said, I got no issues with Shador other than a few things that happened, but I actually want to see him do something, and I would like to see him do something preferably without his dad. Obviously his dad's going to be in tow. His dad's obviously going to be there to support him, but in terms of like needing to be the coach, needing to be, I don't want him doing the puffy thing where it's like, hey, there's a music video for Shador. Why is his daddy all up in front of the camera? I don't want that part. So I hope that he does do like he say he's gonna do, and I hope he does stay in college and let him try to see what he could do on his own. And I believe with the level of maturity that he does have, even though he don't show it all the time, which that's young people. My son does that. He has things where he has times where people see the maturity, and then he has other times where it's like, God, you are such a kid of today. let's go ahead. Were you able to figure out all the head-to-heads and going up in the week 4 what it
All right.
was?
All right. So looking at the schedule from where was it at here? Let me from the NFL and looking at what you sent me for your picks from that first week. So week 1, bring back up the schedule because I was writing it out as I went along. NFL week 1. Week 1. There we go. All right. So NFL week 1. We for the Bears and the Vikings. No, this is what am I on week 1?
Yeah, the Bears and the Vikings played
Yeah,
week 1.
Bears and Vikings is week 1. Okay, here it is. Here's the schedule. All right, Cowboys and Eagles. We both said the Eagles. Chargers and Chiefs. We both said the Chiefs. And the Chargers won that one. So we was together on that one. The Colts and the Dolphins. You had the Colts. No, we both had the Colts, so we both were cool there. Next one, Steelers. We both had the Steelers. Jags. We both had the Jags. Cardinals. We both had the Cardinals. The first one that we went against each other was, I think you put the Giants. You picked the Giants in week 1, and I picked that.
God.
Yep. So that's my first victory.
Okay.
Make sure I'm writing these all down. So that was my first victory. Then let's see here. Buccaneers and Falcons. We both had the Bucks. Bengals and Browns. We both had the Bengals. The Raiders and Patriots. Who did you take? You took the Pats, and I took the Raiders. So I'm up 2-0 on that first one. 49ers and Seahawks. You took the 49ers, I took the 49ers, so we were even there. Broncos and Titans, we both took the Broncos. Packers and Lions. You took the Lions, I took the Packers. So I'm up 3-0 that week. We both took the Rams. And we were smart with that one. Buffalo, we both took the Bills over the Ravens. And then the Bears and Vikings. Who'd you take?
Vikings.
Oh, you took the Vikings. And I don't remember who I took that game. I took the Vikings. I did take the Vikings on that one. So, all right. So, I was up 3-0 by the end of week 1.
Okay.
Now, week 2, the only 2 that we had against each other was the Broncos and the Colts. That was the one that I won that one. No, you won that one because you took the Colts and I took the Broncos. Because I didn't have no faith in the Colts. And damn it, by 1. And then I took the Raiders, you took the Chargers. And yeah, that was stupid on my part 2. So all right, so I went 0-2 that week. You went 2-0.
So it's 3-2 going into week 3.
3. And then week 3. What did I say we had for week 3? Because I had the sheet with me. Darn it. Did I leave the sheet at home? Week 3. What did we have against each other in week 3?
We actually talked about it. The Steelers and the Patriots, because I picked the Steelers. You didn't have no faith in the Steelers, so you took the Patriots. So that was
Gotcha.
one game.
That was one for you.
Here, let me see if I can bring up the schedule because
Buffalo and Miami, we both took Miami. Minnesota and the Bengals. You had Minnesota, I had the Bengals. I remember that one because I cried when that game was over. Like that, dang it. Hold on. I think I do got the sheet with me. Yeah, I got the sheet. My bad. I thought I left it. All right, so we both took Buffalo. You beat me with Minnesota. You beat me with Pittsburgh over New England. which I'm still shocked that you didn't have faith in your squad.
Hey, I know my team.
I understand it. I understand it because they looked. Drake May just decided that he wanted to go back to how it was last season, and their ball security sucked. That was the biggest thing from this week was ball security. The ball security was horrible across the board
Yeah,
for everybody. The defenses won games for people.
yeah.
We
Well,
both took Indiana. We both took Indianapolis. I did not think that was going to be a beating like it was, but hey, Jacksonville and Houston. I took Jacksonville. You took Houston, so that got me a win. Yay!
Right.
Yeah, we both lost the Carolina Atlanta game because nobody expected that. That trap.
Well, I mean, I expected it to be close. But I expected it to be close because one, it's a division game, and plus I watched how they played, and I understood that the only reason they beat the Vikings was because the Vikings beat themselves. So the potential was there for them to lose, but not to make it look like they didn't even show up.
So my question to you is, does what happened with that game and them putting Cousins in on the back end of that game, does that make it to where there might be a little bit of an issue going forward with that quarterback controversy?
Yeah.
Because
they're paying him all that money. If Michael Penix ain't looking good, I'm sorry, you got to put him back in.
And that's where I'm saying, like, it doesn't. Part of it's like, what? Come on now, y'all, because you sat there, you're setting yourself up for a controversy that you don't really need to have.
Yeah, but let's be frank and real. The thing that Cousins and Rodgers has in common, they went in different directions with their Achilles injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Where Aaron started off bad, and then you could say because of like garbage time or whatever. Bottom line, he did look better in the second half of the season than he did in the first. Whereas Cousins looked great starting out, and then as the line broke down and they started depending on him more, which I'm sorry, he is line dependent, and if the line can't block for the run, he's screwed.
Yeah,
that's what you got. And I respect the guy. Came out of Michigan State. He used to do a lot of bad things to my Wolverines, but I call a spade a spade. He is a line dependent quarterback. You have to block for that line. And
yes, you do.
And if Penix has the ability to scramble, but he's mostly a passing quarterback, you still have to have a line for your quarterback, and you got to know that.
Yeah, and that's the part of it to where it's not. I don't know where.
Is it fair to give up on him? They ain't doing nothing no worse to him than they did to Cousins last year.
Right, but that's the whole thing. You said
earlier, but
you basically are taking the wins out of itself in week 3. You can't if you knew that you were going all in, right? And you needed to win. You benched Cousins at the end of last season while you still had an opportunity to go to the playoffs.
No. He basically turned. Let's be frank about what happened to Cousins last year. The later it went into the season, not only did he look worse than Russell Wilson, he was turning into your boy Jameis. I'm sorry. He was turning into Jameis. You can't. No. Let's come on. Now, let's keep it real. He was throwing some interceptions where it was like, bro, what? Like how did you? No, we can't keep you in. Not doing that.
Yeah,
now, I will agree with you that the question is what did they see? Because they let him start the rest of the end of last season.
Right. And you gave him the reins to start the season. What threw you off to where you said,
oh, I already know what threw him off. It's in my opinion anyway. What's their record?
1-2.
That's it. They thought.
And that's what I'm saying. What did you expect? That's my whole thing. What did you expect? I'm not going to hedge my bet after I made that big of a financial investment in one quarterback into my rookie quarterback unless I knew for sure I'm going to see it through all the way to the end. Because what I'm going to do is that instead of me messing up the money on one end, I might screw it up on both.
Here, I'm about to try to see.
Because if you don't, because if you weren't sure about what he was doing, what he did at the end of the season, to where you weren't sure if you wanted to turn it all the way over to him, then you should have let Cousins start the season out as the quarterback and let him get the reps with the first team to build himself up to the point to where you're ready to do that.
Well, here's the problem with that. Money talks, and the fans spoke last year. So no, that wasn't happening. So
Right, and the fans, you're right that the fans talk, but now what the fans are going to say now, because now you got to go into this next week and legitimately say, is Penix going to be my starting quarterback, or is Cousins going to be my starting quarterback? And if you go back to Cousins, them same fans that was calling for Penix last year, you don't think they're gonna start raising their voice again? Like, why are you doing this? And that's where that rub's gonna come into play. You set yourself up to put yourself in a bad situation. If you took Cousins, he needed to come out this week and said Penix is gonna be the starter. And he didn't. He said we're gonna look at what the situation is and dictate who our starter is gonna be by the end of the week. That's not good. That's not good leadership. That's going to create you are messing with the chemistry of the team. If Cousins has not been out there playing first team reps with that offense through the preseason and the first 3 weeks of the season, because Penix was named the starter, now you're throwing him in there, you're pretty much throwing Jake Browning out there, and that's not going to be a good outcome with that. Because if you lose again, what you going to do? Go back to Penix? Is this Colorado? What you gonna do?
they are grasping at straws because they're not sure what to do because they want to win. Bottom line, they do want to win. So
and so you take what happened with that game with your quarterback that was in start number what, 5, 6?
okay, so according to what I'm seeing, other than the Giants game that they won last year, with him, I'm guessing as the starter. I'm not sure what the asterisk is for game starts is because
He probably can't.
I
Did he
can't
come
find
in the game during that one?
yeah. So and he's got like 3 asterisks by all 3 of those games, but that seems to be where he has the most reps. So and I'm pretty sure that those were the games where he started because I believe the 15-9 game against the Raiders was the one where everybody was fed up at that point and they were like, okay, we're done with Cousins. I'm pretty sure that was the game because he said he did not play week 14, and I'm pretty sure the last 3 weeks was when he started because all 3 of those seem to have where he had like he was 18-27 in the win against the Giants. He was 19-35.
That was his first. That was his first start.
Yeah, he was 19-35 in the loss in overtime against the Commanders,
Right.
and he was 21 of 38 in the loss against against the Panthers.
Yep.
Lost in overtime. So
Yep. That was the game that cost them the playoffs. Because that's the game that cost them the playoffs and allowed Washington to backdoor in.
the Buccaneers too, because they ended up beating the Buccaneers twice.
The Buccaneers won the conference, won the division because of that loss.
Yep.
So yeah,
So okay, so the only issue that I have, I have with, I have the same issue with it that I do. I mean that you do, but I also feel like this could be a good thing for him. Why do I say that? Before everything started at the beginning of last year, Bryce Young was the starter. He came in, it didn't look good. Everybody gave the Panthers crap for benching him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dalton played things went a little better, didn't get that much better, and then Dalton got hurt. So you had to stick him back in. He looked like a totally different quarterback.
Yeah.
And then there were some people that did what they were supposed to do, and they apologized to the Panthers for giving them crap. And then there were some people that were like, no, I stand on what I said. They was wrong. They shouldn't have benched him. Dude, he's had 2 seasons and he looked like, and he's had over more than one season and he looked like he didn't belong in the league like Anthony Johnson. Stop talking. I get you want to support your people. Stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
He needed this. And he showed that he needed it because even in the losses, he looked way better than he did the whole year plus like however many games it was going into last year. He looked way better. So clearly that was his kick in the butt. That worked for him, but as statistics show, it don't always work. Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
It don't always work.
And it's like it doesn't. It's going to be an interesting way that they have to figure this out because if you lose that, I'm a fan of Raheem Morris. I'm a very big fan of what he's done, but this is how you quickly lose a team. If you sit up there, if you can't settle on this is my quarterback, this is what I'm doing this with, it's not going to work. It's not going to be to your favor too much longer when it comes to that, and that's not how you want it to end up with that.
And the thing I hate about that whole losing the locker room thing is there's a lot of things that you could do to lose a locker room. You can tell them the truth and they not like it, and you lose the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when do we get to the point to where okay, details matter? Like I used to tell my kids, and when it came to the females that I dealt with, don't make me choose between you and my kids because you will lose. If you even get a thought of it in your head, just go ahead and walk out the door. You don't even owe me an explanation. You walking away will tell me. But I also told my kids, you will respect her too, or I'm coming after you. So as an owner, there needs to be a standard set, kind of like in a regular job. Like what do they call it? Chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a problem, try to figure it out on your level. And then if you can't figure it out on your level, then go to the owner. Then as the owner, it ain't about kissing nobody's butt. It's about finding out. Because at the end of the day, you need that coach to succeed because you're paying him money, maybe not as much as you paying the players, but bottom line, you're paying him money and your reputation for your ability to hire the right people is on the line if you mess around and find out the wrong way that you hired the wrong coach. Now, as much as catering to everybody is fun, it's also more headache driven.
True.
That's why you find out the facts. You find out what went down according to both people. Try to see if you can find the truth in the middle, because everybody ain't like me. I ain't got no reason to lie on you. I'm gonna tell the story and every single ounce of the details the way I remember it. I'm not gonna leave nothing out, whether it makes me look good or it makes me look bad. Like I tell people all the time, yes, I'm an a-hole, but once you hear all the facts, you're gonna understand why I was an a-hole.
Why I'm that way. Yep.
So and that's what I feel like. All of the more successful teams, I feel like they do that more. Why do I feel that way? Because you hear less minutiae and less quote unquote noise coming from the team.
Mm-hmm. And that's the part of it that they don't understand. And that's
you don't hear a lot of noise coming out of Philly. I mean,
even out of Philly, you don't hear that out of Philly.
Well, my bad. I forgot about the year that they kind of went, that they kind of nosedived. There was a lot of noise that year, and you see how it worked out for them. Right. But the years that you didn't hear a lot of that, what did they do? The year before, they went to the Super Bowl. That year they went down. The next year they went to the Super Bowl and won. there was way less noise in 2024 than it was in 2023. And so the less noise that there is, the more successful you can be because you're focusing on what you're supposed to be focused on. You're supposed to be focusing on winning the football game. How can I win the football game? Uh-oh, a couple of my guys is hurt. 5 of my guys is hurt. All right, you people on the bench, how y'all gonna get in here and help us still win this game as if our starters, our original starters was in? Coaches, how's that gonna happen? Players, how's that gonna happen? If you push me, practice squad, how's that gonna happen?
Yep.
Hey, people on waivers, I hope you've been working out, staying in shape, working on your diet, because I may need you. I think one of the things that changed Pete Carroll was originally the way he played it was, oh, it don't matter what we paying you, you're competing for your spot every year.
Yeah.
That's when they were at their best. You heard less of that after the Super Bowl years.
Yeah.
Which to me, if somebody got to worry about their spot, if they got to worry about their spot, they're gonna go out there, they're gonna put their best foot forward all the time.
Right. If you lose that comfortability.
And the other thing, you may lose your spot on the roster because the owner and the GM gonna look and go, well, hey, if you ain't the starter no more, we're paying you too much money.
Exactly. And it ain't guaranteed contracts.
You know, and I think that's what they need to start doing with these contracts. It's okay to be a little uncomfortable. There are people out there that work uncomfortably every day. They sign applications where it tells them in the application, you are at will employment. If we walk up to you one day and decide you're fired, here's why we can do it. Are you okay with still trying to work here? You say yes, because 9 times out of 10 you need the employment, so you sign up for it. You want to play in the NFL, these are the rules. You gonna deal with it, or you gonna go to the UFL, or you gonna go to the CFL?
And a lot of them don't want to have that lesser paycheck when it comes to that, so they say they're going other one.
And that's where I think that things need to go. And with the way they're kind of doing things, especially in the NBA, I got a feeling that more leagues other than baseball are about to start having this real conversation. It's like, wait a minute, I'm an owner, especially with these big conglomerates that are starting to buy these teams, less personal owner people, more actual company people. These people want to win now. So I do envision that something is going to happen with the Lakers and Luka, but I digress. The one thing that I said that I wanted to talk about before we get to our this week's picks and get up out of here, I saw this post where Charles Barkley was pointing out the fact that LeBron was somehow considered the GOAT, and yet he had losing championships. And somebody down in the comments that said somebody that didn't do what LeBron did, throwing shade. He's telling the truth. Who cares if he didn't win a championship? So I quickly pointed out to the person that commented, and I'm gonna check the comments to see if the person decided to comment. And
of course they did, because nobody goes against the GOAT.
I said, and with you pushing that narrative, I now have a question for you. Did you do anything? Did you do as much as Barkley? According to your narrative, did you do as much as Barkley, whether it be on college or on the NBA level? Quit calling shade. Quit calling the truth shade. It's a true fact. And then I went on to commend LeBron for everything he has done. He is a GOAT. He is not the GOAT. He is a GOAT for everything he has done. He's just not the GOAT.
Did you see what Byron Scott said today?
I did not.
Byron Scott said there's no reason why a statue should be placed outside of Staples to LeBron. He hasn't done enough to deserve it, which I agree wholeheartedly.
You can put it in Cleveland. You can put it in Miami.
Right.
It's not in LA.
He doesn't need one in LA. And I don't, and that's part of the reason why, with the rumors that have been circulating that this is his last year, I
don't think it's going to be his choice.
I think I agree with you. but I think that he's gonna, because he's always been the person that wants to control the narrative. He's gonna come out and say, "This is my last year," and he's gonna take the money to go play overseas somewhere for a couple of years to finish out his years. Because realistically, he's gonna become an attraction instead of being the mainstay of in the NBA anymore. And he's gonna try to
And,
rub it in his face, rub it in their
and
face, and sit up there and say, "Y'all can't do it without me," which
uh,
is far from the truth.
right. And now the one thing that will trip me out, especially if he does it, and I actually wouldn't mind seeing it, because Cube is my boy. I don't think it'll happen, but
He ain't going big three.
God, that would be great.
Because you got to think about it from this standpoint. Big three would have to pay him at least part ownership of the big three in order for him to do it.
And you know what? They were, if I remember right, they were willing to pay Caitlin a sizable stack. So
Oh
I
yeah,
think
I give you that one, because
I,
here's the thing, and here's the thing that I just found out this year. They got Proctor money behind them now. So they have a little bit of cachet behind them. They got the Proctor promotion. If you've been to a big three game before this season, you didn't see a lot of merchandising outside of big three stuff there.
right.
You went to the game that was here during the Jazz Festival weekend
Uh-huh.
because Procter and Gamble promotes the music festival.
Right.
It was everywhere. They brought him out on stage to introduce somebody during the music festival. So they've made it to where every music festival weekend, the big three is here. Most of the time, the big three is where most of the teams that are stationed at is there with a couple of them there. There's no reason why Cincinnati should be on the map for that. Now we know why.
Right.
So I get that whole point of it when it comes to that. But one of his biggest critics, right, wrong, or indifferent, one of LeBron's biggest critics has been Q. Whenever he's been on any of the talk shows, he's talked about, hey, you gotta do more. You can't do that, because he's an honest sports fan. He's an honest Lakers fan. He's not a fair weather LeBron James came over to here, so now I'm a Lakers fan type of person. So
Okay.
when it comes down to this, is it possible? Yeah. Is it plausible? Two instances make it plausible. Bronny comes with him,
Which is possible.
and Bryce comes with him. Make it a traveling circus. Which would suck, because Bryce legitimately would have, I think Bryce has a better future in the NBA than Bronny. But if Daddy says we can all make this money to make our whole net worth and our whole dynasty this over here, versus we don't need the NBA. And depending on the individuality of Daddy knows best versus what I want to do, one of them I already know, so I'll probably say Daddy knows best. I'm gonna go with him. The other one might try to rebel against him.
Oh man, you know what? Shame on me. I forgot about something, and I was deleting tabs, and I saw it, and I feel bad. But because I said we're gonna talk about it, we're gonna talk about it real quick. Then we're gonna get to the
Get to the
picks.
picks. Yeah, because it's
Maxwell,
on 9. We already at 3 hours.
right? Maxwell, Vernon, Mad Max Maxwell. So, and I looked up what happened. So apparently he got caught with some illicit substances,
Mm-hmm.
and they ended up taking his accolades, his records, and how many points that he had, and they decided that it didn't exist. Well, because of the current athletic director speaking up for him, the Florida Gators have reinstated him, and he is now number 3 in the
All-time scorer.
SEC all time.
Mhm.
And dude, I I started looking over these names, and a few of them sound real familiar because I watched them play. It's like I didn't see obviously I didn't see Maravich, Pete Maravich play, which he set the record at LSU with almost 3,700 points. Good
Mhm.
Lord. He was a scoring machine.
Pistol Pete, the only person that reminds me of Pistol Pete would be Steve Nash with his passing ability that he had, and Curry. Because here's the thing, that's without a 3-point line.
Right.
And if they I forgot, look it up and we can talk about it next week. Look it up what they said from the distance that he shot that was charted, what his point total would have been if the 3-point line would have been in play.
That is insane.
Right.
But yeah, so just in order real quick. Pete Maravich is number one. Allen Houston. A lot of Tennessee players on this list.
Mhm.
And then Vernon Maxwell, and then John Shroud. He set the record for Ole Miss the year I was born. Chuck
Yeah.
Person, I remember Chuck Person. He played for Indiana, and he played for. Did he play for somebody else other than Indiana?
Spurs.
That's right. That's right. That was toward the end, I believe.
Yeah.
So and then Ernie Grunfield. That was before I was born. Uh,
Tony White. I remember Tony
Tony
White.
White. Reggie King. The name sounds familiar, but obviously I couldn't have been. I, I was a year off,
Reggie King, I thought was in a slam dunk competition against Jordan.
and then Jeff Malone. That was I was a youngin, and then Dan Easel. He
Yeah.
did that at out of Kentucky. That was before I was born. But
And
yeah,
he became a coach.
we've talked about this, and I'm telling you, they're opening up Pandora's box, and what's going to have to happen is there's going to be some real conversations. Uh, for people like say Reggie Bush.
Well, Reggie, they already reinstated.
Oh, they did.
They reinstated Reggie. They had to reinstate Reggie after everything happened with the name, image, and likeness, because what he did was a drop in the pan for what a lot of other people had done and got away with that. They
Right.
reinstated him. They gave him back his Heisman. That was all. Let me make sure that and they were I thought they reinstated all of his records at USC. Bush reinstated. Reggie Bush reinstated. There we go. Yeah,
Yeah. They.
The Heisman gave him in 2024. They returned his trophy to him in there, including the original trophy, a replica for USC, and an invitation to all future Heisman ceremonies recognizing his accomplishments. Uh, da, 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 da. Now, did USC give him back his reinstatement? I don't think USC has given it back to him yet, though. Let me double check that to make sure. Reggie Bush reinstated USC. No, but there's a podcast. They acknowledge his reinstatement, but they have not reinstated him, which is weird. Now that I think about it, that is very, very weird. So they reinstated his Heisman, but they haven't gave USC back the title. So that title that they had to forfeit and everything from him being there, they have not given that back to him. That's still vacated.
Mm,
So
I feel like there's must be something else there because that seems real petty.
I mean, it does seem weird. It really does seem weird, because how in the world do you?
Because even after the Sandusky situation and the BS that Penn State pulled on Paterno after he died, they waited
Mhm.
about 5 years, but they gave him all his wins back, and any titles that they had won that they had vacated, they gave back to the school. So yeah, I feel like, is there something else there that we don't know about? That's my immediate question.
Mm-hmm.
Because other than that, this looks like super duper dog petty. Back to Mad Max, as they used to call him, because he ain't take nothing off of nobody. And I love the reel that keeps going around. He said he did not lose no sleep over anybody but Michael Jordan.
Jordan. Yep. He always said that. He always made sure. He
He
said
said,
that was the one person to where when that schedule came out, he knew, y'all want to go out? Nope, I ain't going out. I got to do with this man all freaking game. Nope. No, I'm
and
not
and
doing it.
and he wasn't taking no guff off of Mike either. And I
No,
and that's what I try to tell the younger people today. Like, you have to understand, even when people knew that they were outmatched, they it was
they
still
still, they
it was
still
simply
went
about
at
being
him.
a man. Like bro, I'm still a man at the end of the day, and your team may be better than my team, but you gonna respect me up in here.
Mhm.
or we
They
gonna spend most of this game throwing down, throwing elbows, throwing. We gonna go from throwing elbows for position to be throwing fists plainly at your face. That was their way of saying put some respect on my name, and
Yeah,
the winners understood it. They didn't always like it. Obviously, that's what it was.
but that's how it was supposed to be.
So,
Even
and
though
that's how it should be to a level now. But I
it,
understand why people don't want to be like that, because that energy can spread. So I get that part.
whatever. I
That's
want that energy.
that's
Keep
that.
that energy. I want you. In order to be the man, you got to beat the man. I
Yeah,
want that energy,
yeah.
and that's what I'm fighting.
Because I know how my energy is, I can understand why people like, what? It just, no, I don't want to be like that with people. The world is screwed up as it is. Everybody walking around all angry and, and,
Screw
and,
that.
and,
I want to
and
fight.
I get it. But again, kudos to him. And hopefully
Yeah, congrats, because he
USC,
deserves it.
yeah,
I,
hopefully USC changes their mind. But shout out to Mad Max.
eh,
Congratulations to him.
I'm still gonna
He
get my Bush jersey back. I want my jersey back. That just that nobody will ever take that away from me in that era at all. And if they watch that football in that era, they would understand that was just such a great era of football. Jesus Christ, I love that.
It was USC is and quite a few teams, and that's why I said, that's why I remember that the offense for Texas was good, not as good as USC's
No, but the defense for
completely,
Texas.
but that defense.
Yeah, that defense was outrageous that year. I remember that defense.
Woo.
I was like,
They
Jesus
were.
Christ.
I wanna say, you could tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm close. I want to say they were kind of like the equivalent. How close were they, do you think, to a Lou Holtz Notre Dame defense?
Similar.
Okay.
Similar.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it it,
And
it, it was a different type of swag with it too. So it was just like,
well, yeah, it's Texas. So,
right. All right,
but
let's get to the picks. Let's get
right,
to the
right, right.
picks. Let's get to the picks. All right. So first game, Thursday night, Seattle and Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Kyler just gonna have to prove me wrong. I'm going with Seattle.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm going with Seattle.
I'm sorry. The 49ers are at their weakest, and they lost to the 49ers yesterday
And
with
then with
Mac
their running game.
Jones.
Right. And with their running back issue, I'm not too excited about it now.
Right.
All right. Vikings and Steelers. This is overseas, 9:30 kickoff in the morning.
Ooh, crap. Hold on. I knew something was wrong. I'm like, why? Sorry, you said Vikings and who?
Vikings Steelers.
um, you know what? Here's what we about. Y'all. I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
I am too. Because that running game and oh, did you see the other blip? Then we'll get into that next week if it does happen. Even if McCarthy is healthy, they don't know if they're not going to start Wentz over McCarthy. Same issue as Atlanta. All right, next. And speaking of Atlanta, Commanders versus Falcons, the Mariota Bowl. Commanders.
Commanders at
Versus
versus
Atlanta.
oh yeah. I'm not screwing myself again with the Commanders. Yeah, okay. I've
All right.
lost two games that I should have went with the Commanders. I'm not feeling that. So
Chargers,
yeah.
Vikings. I
Chargers
mean,
like
Chargers, Giants. Sorry.
oh God, no. Oh man. Well, Russ, yeah, you definitely losing this one, bro. And I feel bad for that defense because that defense played their heart out. They didn't have 4 quarters worth of cardio.
Nope. They tried though, but they
You
didn't.
know, but that offensive play calling, man. I know I've never been an OC, but still,
Dayball
you
did not know what he was doing.
your run game was working. Quit worrying about quarterback versus quarterback. That's what all these leagues, these teams need to do. Quit worrying about quarterback versus quarterback. It's helping you lose games. It's a part of the conversation. Don't worry about if Russell outshines whoever the other quarterback is. Worry about what works best in terms of him being able to perform at his best. He performed best not when he was the pass first. It didn't work in Seattle after the Super Bowl years, and it hasn't worked anywhere else when they tried to go to it. That was part of the reason why Pittsburgh fell apart. But the line fell apart, which cut down the run game, which when they started going pass first, made it open season on Russ. And now they're doing it in New York. It's like nobody sees the formula. But anyway, yeah, going with the Chargers. Oh we.
Wow. It's a lot of it's a lot of stuff going on all at the same time. All right. I'm gonna throw some tidbits out before we close out too with this. All right, so we both going with the Chargers. Tennessee, Houston.
I gotta be honest. I don't know. I want to say Houston, but they still haven't. Speaking of teams that ain't got their line together, they seem like they going back
Yeah.
to. They seem like they going back QB purgatory, Houston, which ain't good for Stroud.
No.
It's not good for Stroud. It's not good for Chubb. It's not good for Mixon. Obviously,
Mm-mm.
it's not good for Nico.
Of course not with that one. Mm.
I guess I'll try it. I'll try this again. They burnt me. They burnt me this week. Let's see if they stronger than what's going on with the Titans. If they lose to the Titans this week, it may be time to start asking some serious questions about what's going on there if I'm the owner.
Yeah, well, start asking questions. I'm taking Tennessee. Cam Ward's first victory.
Okay. All right. We got our
That was scary watching that yesterday. They had no rhyme or reason whatsoever. They ran the ball, stopped running the ball. They threw the ball, they stopped throwing the ball. Fumbles happen. Nico Collins never fumbles. He fumbles that game. It just was weird. Yesterday was weird. Period.
I got a feeling that's part of that hero ball syndrome.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that one fumble
Ooh.
that speaking of the Giants winning the difference between the Giants winning and losing a game. Fall on the ball in the history of defenses being able to pick up the ball and run to the end zone. The numbers are not in the defensive man's favor, especially if he is a defensive lineman. Fall on the ball.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
fall on the ball, then Patrick can't come and body bump you and then end up with the ball back in his hands.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. And I digress. Go ahead, my bad.
All right. Next one. Oh, so where are we at? Where are we at? Next one. Where'd I go? Sorry. Oh, good one. Eagles, Bucks.
Yeah, I don't like this game.
Me
I don't
either.
like this game at all. I don't like this game at all. I am gonna wanna watch it. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna want to watch it. I will say that. But yeah, not feeling this game. I'm gonna say Philly.
Oh, well, we together. I thought you would take your Bucks.
That's why I don't like this game because if they come out and the offensive line protects Baker, I know that there's a chance that I could end up eating this. And I feel it more with Tampa Bay than I did with the Steelers and the Patriots. So I was more confident in my pick with the Steelers, even though they are kind of a borderline dumpster fire in terms of what they need to get together. As good as Tampa Bay is, there's levels to this game. And even though Philly still needs to completely figure it out, they're still levels above Tampa Bay, in my opinion. So
yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one.
especially with Evans gone.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that is true.
So,
All right. Panthers, Patriots.
they just whooped up on the Falcons.
Now they gotta go to New England.
You know what? We about to see. This is week 4. We about to see where they at. I'm gonna go with my boys this week.
Up next heads up.
Right.
Because Carolina just looked like it started to click with them. Maybe it was the team they was playing against. Maybe it was just karma. We'll see.
Yeah. It was a divisional game, and the only thing I can equate that to is that is I feel like, you know how sometimes you just look at a score and you go, y'all just thought y'all was gonna waltz in there
Yep,
and play them like the Saints and play them like everybody's playing the Saints. It's like, well, no, they have the capability to win a game, and you are in the NFC South. So it's literally any given Sunday for any team, especially in that division, because of how close they are. So you don't go in sleeping on nobody. So the AFC South and the NFC South is definitely like that. So you don't go in and sleep on no opponent, no matter how weak they look. So I will hope that my Patriots will show up and fix their issues so that I can get dubbed both in actual games and obviously the head to head.
Head.
So let's see who's
All
next.
Right. Saints Bills.
You know what? The Bills better show me something, because that game last week they could have very well have lost.
See, that's a divisional game. This is the Aints.
I get that it's the Aints, but we just literally talked about it. It don't matter how weak they look. That's my competitive edge. I don't care how weak you look. I'm gonna play you like I'm playing in the Super Bowl. I'm playing I'm playing in the national championship. My plan is to hit you in the mouth so that whatever level you are, you ain't gonna be that today. And I'm on a seek and destroy mission. I should see nothing less than what Seattle did to them yesterday. I expect that from Buffalo, because compared to the chemistry situation and having everything together, they're more put together, where a blowout was more understandable than them winning by even 7 points. It's like, okay, what the hell was y'all doing?
Exactly.
You do understand that you were playing an NFL team, right? I get that they got their issues, but you do understand you playing an NFL team. You got to show up every week.
They gotta do something.
Yeah. So I definitely want to. I'll give you the whole thing about the division rival, but there was some other things there that just made it feel like that game didn't get as far away from the Dolphins as it should have.
Yeah.
So that game was way too close to call. I was on the verge.
God, I was watching that game like, what the fuck's going on?
Right. So
what's happening here?
All right.
Next one. Browns, Lions.
This is gonna be a good game. And they just beat Green Bay last week. Don't you add me? They just beat Green Bay last week. Who beat the unholy brakes off the Lions week 1.
And the Lions right now are beating the Ravens.
You know what? I turned my other TV on, meant to turn on the game, and went on a rant on you and put my other remote down. But
14-7, but 14-7 at the end, toward the end of the first half. Baltimore's got the ball at Detroit's 21-yard line. So yeah,
okay,
it's cyclical.
right.
I don't think Cleveland can do it twice in a row.
Especially after the Lions got smacked in the mouth, the way they did. Wait a
Yeah.
minute, who got the ball?
What's called Ravens got the ball.
Not according to what I'm looking at.
124 left.
Yeah, it says 118. The Lions got the ball.
Oh no, Lions got the ball now, so they must have just turned the ball over. Who fumbled?
Humphrey. You know what? They've been calling that illegal contact a lot more this season.
Yep. Yeah, they have. All right, no, I'll come back to that. All right, let's wrap this up real quick here. All right, so you're going with Cleveland or Detroit?
Oh, Detroit. My bad.
Okay, yeah, okay. Just make sure there. All right, Jaguars, 49ers.
Jaguars burnt me last week. But let's look. I'm a person that believes.
Ooh.
I'm looking at.
Oh my God. Sunday evening is gonna be amazing.
Why you say that?
Let's run through these. Why should I start naming some of these games?
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at. You know what? I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
We going heads up again.
Yeah,
Jacksonville has just been like hit or miss. I don't know if they can continue. I don't know if Mac Jones can get me to that point.
no, and I get you, but I'm also looking at like who the Jags have played. As I apologize. That's part of the reason why I was procrastinating, because I was looking at who the 49ers beat and how it went, and then I looked at Jacksonville, who they beat and didn't beat, and what it looked like. And the 49ers are not as weak as the Panthers, which that's their biggest win. Um,
Yeah,
they lost to the Bengals, which we know the state that the Bengals are in.
Lord
So
help.
and then they beat the Texans by 7.
Yeah. I'm gonna take that one. I'm still gonna roll with Jacksonville on that one.
Yeah, no. And I won't be surprised if Jacksonville beats me, but I need to I need to see it because of the wins. It's like they played 3 teams that are in shambles and they lost to one of them.
Right.
And the weakest team is the one that they got the most points out of out of all 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was the Panthers. So
I feel you. I just don't. It's just something better than
no,
screen.
I get it. It's Mac Jones, Daniel Jones. It's them Jones boys. I get it.
And speaking of Daniel Jones, the next game, Colts versus Rams in LA.
Colts versus.
Oh, it gets worse.
I don't. You know what? Ooh, oh God, this season's killing me.
Man.
This season is killing me right now. Because no matter what level, everybody seems like all the games are good.
Yeah.
Technically. So but I can't go against as much as I like what happened with Daniel Jones, and he made me right. Thank you, Daniel Jones. He made the non-guy that didn't play in the NFL. He made it. He made me right. I also have to thank the Indianapolis organization for having the right kind of line for him and all of that fun stuff. But I digress. I'm going with the Rams. I'm proven wrong. Then everybody better get real scared of the Colts real quick, because Houston ain't cutting it. So that, who was it? I want to say Colin Cowherd or somebody that was on his show, or it might have been Nick Wright. Somebody said that it was going to be Indianapolis coming out of the AFC South, and I can't remember who it was.
This is a two-edged sword on here with why I'm making this pick. One,
Okay.
had the Rams not choked the way that they did in that fourth quarter yesterday, it would have been a whole lot easier. And had Jonathan Taylor not start running like Jonathan Taylor of old, along with this resurgence of Daniel Jones, I got Indy going 4-0. Indy right now is clicking. I would not have expected them to be clicking the way that they are. And it's not. Taylor was running over people yesterday. It was ugly with some of the runs.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have a line that's actually doing their job, then Jonathan Taylor can do Jonathan Taylor things, and that's his thing.
But then to complement that with Pierce going over the middle, jumping up and grabbing catches, Pittman going up and getting catches. It's like they are going to fly under the radar until they can't fly under the radar anymore. And this might be that moment where they stop flying under the radar. Everybody kind of be like, oh, you see what Indianapolis is doing? And if they go out to LA and they beat LA, then it's going to be like, oh, you see what Indianapolis is doing? It's going to really make people wake up with it. All right, next one. Bears and Raiders. Stop, Bears. And the only reason why I'm saying the Bears is the one thing that I was fearful for Las Vegas when Carroll came in there and they hired Chip Kelly as their offensive coordinator. He does not know how to use his weapons. He doesn't. He always thinks that he's smarter than the weapons that's presented for him. Genty, when they give him the ball, Genty has been producing. When you get Brock Bowers the ball, when Bowers has been hurt, he's been producing. Why do you insist on doing go routes with Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers all the time?
With Geno Smith.
Makes no sense to me whatsoever. That game last week against I keep on calling San Diego. They're always going to be San Diego. Against the Chargers, watching that game, I was like, what the hell is this? And Geno was looking like he was on the sideline like, why am I throwing the ball? So I don't have no faith in him. So I'm with Chicago.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I think I'm going to pick Chicago, but I got a feeling I'm going to get burned. Because the question will be this: what is the front seven for the Raiders like? Because all that stuff that you just brought up about the stuff that you just brought up about Chip Kelly won't matter if Max Crosby and that front seven can keep things can keep Swift under control and keep Caleb running for his life. That was the reason why that game yesterday, we know from watching it, got out of hand. The front seven couldn't get the pressure that the previous two teams was getting on Caleb.
True.
That game would have went differently. But if your offense ain't clicking, the defense stays on the field. Even if they start out being able to get pressure on Caleb, unless they get some turnovers and they score, then eventually the Bears are gonna end up doing their thing. Because defensively, because I just pulled up the rankings. According to Fox Sports, the defensive rankings, the Raiders are 19th and the Bears are 28th. So there is a world to where if Chip Kelly and Geno Smith do it right and call the correct plays, they can have a field day on Chicago's defense, which is weird, knowing what they got on what the Bears have on defense, that they would be 28th.
Yeah.
Because they definitely didn't look like 28th yesterday.
Oh, heck you know. No,
But then again, they were playing the Dallas Cowboys. So, yeah.
All right, next one. Ravens versus Chiefs. I told you it was gonna get good.
Oh. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Head up. I think I think that they got right with against the Giants for Kansas City, but they ain't right.
Oh yeah. They're definitely not right, but they definitely, if Mahomes was paying attention, the league now has some problems because he got some weapons to throw to. And if he could just understand that, and Travis Travis needs to understand, if the ball comes to him, it comes to him. But Gray can catch the ball and he can do things. That dude Thornton, whether catching over the middle or going deep, that dude is a problem. So and Smith Schuster is back to actually catching the ball. So he has weapons to
Until he
throw
gets
to.
punched in the mouth.
And
Until he gets punched in the mouth.
who?
Smith Schuster. Until he gets
Oh,
smacked in the mouth.
he was doing his thing, and he was getting mangled every time he caught the ball. And he had some catches. Bottom line, the Ravens better make sure that they account for every receiver on that field, and they better not give Mahomes any running lanes, because that's why that game went the way it did. Because not only did they, whether it was trying to defend Thornton deep or trying to defend him going going at doing different breaks across the middle, they could not stop him from catching the ball.
Yeah, true.
And I get that defensively the guys are on paper better, but on paper better and actually going up against a team that's going to give you a challenge is a different conversation. Like right now in this game with the Lions. 14-14.
Is it 14-14? Did they score?
Yeah. The Ravens ended up getting the ball and scoring. So they're about to it was weird. I looked down at my phone and they were scoring. It was weird. But now they getting ready to the Lions are getting ready to try to attempt a field goal. If the Chiefs are paying attention to this game, Goff got the ball back and was dinking and dunking. Was giving the front seven no time to get to him. He was dinking and dunking, and he ended up within field goal range. So it's possible. But Mahomes got more confidence the more running lanes he saw, and the more that he saw that that people were actually catching the ball, which that's what you want to make sure that is not happening. You want to see him frustrated. You want to see Kelsey frustrated because they lose their mojo. Nope, he missed it. He kicked it too dead on. He needed to kick it a little bit to the where it angled a little bit to the right. He would have had it. So yeah, they're going in at halftime 14-14. But yeah. And plus the history of the Ravens versus the Chiefs. You want me to I believe during the regular season that the Bills can beat the Chiefs. He's 4-0 against them. But I also believe that in the playoffs, Chiefs versus Bills, I'm picking the Chiefs until the Bills prove me wrong. I'm picking the Chiefs until the Ravens in the playoffs or during the regular season prove me wrong. Prove the Chiefs wrong that even at their weakest, which the past 2 years, they've been weak and they haven't beat the Chiefs. They haven't beat them at all. At least the one thing you can give Josh and McDermott as a reason for him to be able to keep his job is like, okay, at least you can beat them during the regular season to give us some kind of hope for the playoffs. But the Ravens, no matter where they are on defense or where how is it not even as close as Josh and the Bills versus the Chiefs in terms of wins and losses? It's closer with Josh and the Bills and their defensive head coach as opposed to you and your offensive coordinator and your talent, and you got Derrick Henry. I don't care how good James Cook is. He is not Derrick Henry. So yeah, I prove me wrong, bro. I got the Chiefs.
Yeah. So all right. So I gave you that one with the Chiefs in Baltimore with that. Sunday night game, Packers in Dallas. Packers.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an instant with that one. Monday night early, Jets and Dolphins. You know what? Miami's first win.
Huh?
I got Miami's first win. Jets and Dolphins.
Nope.
You going with the Jets?
We going head to head on that one.
I just got a feeling I just got a feeling that Buffalo game might have unlocked what they needed to do just against the Jets.
And the Jets are going to be pissed off that they didn't beat my Bucks. They're going to be pissed off that they did not beat my Bucks.
That's true.
So yeah, I get it. That is a scary game that could go either way, possibly, but at the same time, Aaron Glenn and that defense, that's gonna give they offense a chance. That they defense is gonna always give their offense a chance to win games. So you should always, in my
Yeah, I'm going
there's a few teams that you should be afraid of, and the Jets is definitely one of them. Especially now that Fields is sitting down. Now they have a quarterback that has some seasoned experience that could give them at least a shot.
He's gotta throw the ball. I don't. He showed what he could be in week 1 and hasn't shown it since. That's why I can't trust it. I just can't. I can't trust.
He's still hurt, isn't he?
Yeah, Tyrod's back there. That's what I'm saying. That's right. Tyrod's there. I'm still going with Miami. I'll take that one on the chin if they lose that one because I'm not taking on the chin with this last one. The good old Bengals versus the Broncos. Broncos. I have lost all faith.
Ooh,
I've lost all faith
because I don't like that game.
I don't like the game, but I don't like the coaching. So I trust Peyton more than I trust Taylor.
For sure. And that's one reason. But my thing is that Denver as a whole it's like, dude, what happened? It's like y'all had yourself
it's second year growing pains. It's second year growing pains
for the entire team though.
Yeah, because they trying to congeal into what they should be. I don't. They get that in Denver Monday night. If the Bengals win this one, it restores 33% of my faith. They lose this one, they might be in lines for the number 1 overall pick.
I'm sorry, the way the Broncos have been playing, they're nothing close to what the Vikings have on offense. The way they're playing.
No.
And the fact that the one thing that you have to keep in mind about the Vikings doing what they did, that wouldn't have been the score if McCarthy hadn't been hurt. And you know it, and I know it. And again, I'm a Michigan guy, but I call a spade a spade. I don't watch the boy play. He's trying to find himself. He's trying to find out what he can be in that offense, and it made for some close games. You put Carson Wentz in, the guy who knows who he is. He knows he got to have some time with the weapons. He's obviously an NFL quarterback. He has some experience being a starter. The Bengals were going into a very ugly situation.
Yep.
So
that's why I said I can't go in my good faith as being a football fan and say the Bengals win this game. I can't.
yeah, Bo Nix, I believe that Peyton and them can make it happen. Although I will say I will not be shocked if the Bengals were to somehow win this game, just because of the fact that the level that the Broncos are at is not even doesn't seem to be as close as they were last year. It's not even close to it. And the last year Broncos would have definitely beat this year's Broncos, especially with the Bengals coming off a 48-10 loss.
Yeah.
They definitely would have been like a shoe in for the win. And I'm picking them. I'm picking them because of the defense. I'm picking them because they got Sean Payton. And I know that
And that's why I'm picking them.
Bo Nix is capable under Sean Payton of beating you with the running game that they have and the weapons. The weapons obviously aren't as talented as the wide receivers aren't as talented as say the Bengals wide receivers, but if the quarterback can't stay upright and he stays under pressure all day, pressure bust pipes as you know I love to say.
Yep.
So yeah, there's that. So
all right.
what
So
else
we got 6 head. That's it. We got 6 head to heads. Houston, you took Houston, New England, San Fran, the Rams, KC, and the Jets. I took Tennessee, Carolina, Jacksonville, Indiana, Baltimore, and Miami. So this is going to be a good pendulum week to see where we are.
All right. So
in the head to heads. So right now, head
what's
to
the
head,
score head to head?
You are up 5-4 right now.
All right. Better get that lead back, damn it. All
and
right.
We'll see where this is.
I need my teams to win this week.
All right. So quick hitters before we get out of here. One, Bleacher Report is reporting that Rich Paul had a quote on LeBron James's future saying Clutch Sports CEO wants fans to appreciate LeBron heading into year 23. It may be his last. Go figure. The Reds are offering clickbait. Yeah, I know. The Reds are offering discounted tickets and concession items this week for this 3-game series against the Pirates in order for their playoff push. Reason why? Hey, I'm trying to be hopeful here. They have 6 games left. They are mathematically in the playoffs, but their last 3 games of the season is against Milwaukee. Yeah, we ain't going to the playoffs. See here, what was the other one that just came across my screen? Oh, and the last one. So, for everybody that decided that they wanted to get the new ESPN app and decided that they wanted to watch WrestlePalooza on Saturday evening, ESPN graded their own entry level into the PLE for WWE event a C. Said that outside of Cena's entrance to that PLE and the Stephanie Vaquer match where Vaquer won the women's championship, the rest of the card was mediocre at best.
Who said that?
ESPN's writers.
Oh.
So in light of that,
I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it because I got it late.
Okay, so watch it because I haven't watched it all the way through either. Watch it, and here's the 2 things I want you to put in the back of your mind with that. 2 of those matches, somebody changed the original ending for those matches to how the outcomes was. And people are upset that the outcomes were changed.
Huh. Okay.
One of them has been a very prominent issue. If you've been watching any of the blogs and everything else, one of them was a very prominent way that the match played out versus what it was originally scheduled to be as early as the morning of the match. Somebody called an audible at the last minute and turned it into what it was.
History says that one of them was Brock Lesnar.
Exactly. So
because
somebody,
that human did the same thing with the undefeated streak.
Somebody makes sense to me why that was curved. Because it was supposed to be Cena defeated his demon. And it turned into eerily similar to that match where it was Suplex City introduced in that match. But I digress. You'll have to watch that one. The other one, Cody and Drew. Cody was supposed to drop the belt. And somebody called an audible. They rated that the second worst match of the night.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
But considering
it's not
the way Raw started off, it's now understandable what because I saw what happened in the press conference, and then so even though I didn't watch it, I saw the beginning of Raw, and then I put it on pause. Seeing how everything ended with Seth and Cody doing a face-to-face, that's why they did the audible. But the question is why are they now wanting to unify the titles?
They're not unifying them. They're not unifying the titles. Here's what the issue is. And this will be my last take for the night, folks, because we even went almost 4 hours. So this is my last take when it comes to this. With the announcement of WrestleMania 43 being in Saudi Arabia, which will be the first WrestleMania, first PLE, main for PLE outside of North America for that whole thing with that. Crown Jewel has became pretty much Night of Champions, where they do champion versus champion. So you're going to get Valkyrie versus probably Stratton. You're going to get Dom or whoever has it going up against, who's the Intercontinental Men's? Darn, who is the Intercontinental Men's champion? No, that's Dom.
Sammy.
Dom versus Sammy. And then you got Seth versus Cody.
Although
that's when they give that big ring for the winner for winning that match.
And in the case of the Dom versus Sammy, I think it's gonna end up being
Rusev.
Yeah.
Probably.
Rusev jacked him up tonight.
I believe it.
Caught him out of nowhere. He was in the back. LA Knight came out. He walking up. All of a sudden, he heard this noise behind him. Rusev had Dom jacked up against one of the little equipment boxes, and Dom had both titles in his hand, and he was pointing at the IC title. He was like, "I want my title shot." LA Knight just shook his head while oddly wearing what looked to be Bengals colors.
Probably.
I was like, dude, you're in. Shouldn't you be wearing blue and white? Seeing that you're in Indiana. Yeah.
But the worst thing that can come out of this whole situation is that it seems like they're starting to cater and pander towards the Saudi Arabian money and what they want, and they're making it dictate how they storylines are getting played out in their matches. And the worst thing that could have possibly happened to them was that AEW put on a banger of a show for All Out.
They always do.
I know they always do, but this is the first time to where even the critics came back across the board and said that card from start to finish was a banger of a show.
Me and Tasha have been talking about this for weeks because even Dynamite and Collision, they put the right matches together and they let them go. They are WCW 2.0.
And you cannot, if they're WCW 2.0 and you already had it to where the rivalry was there and then it died off, you cannot be missing with the people that you've brought back, the people that you've readjusted, because let's call a spade right now. Everybody that's a prominent figure on WWE right now has some ties to something over at AEW. Except for Tiffany Stratton and Dominic Mysterio. Because Vicari used to be on AEW. Cody, we know, was on AEW. CM Punk, AEW. Right. CM Punk, AEW.
Yeah, they yeah, that out of everybody with ties over there, yeah, you don't have to worry about Punk. It just,
right.
no.
Yeah, I get that.
Especially seeing who showed back up at All Out. Yeah, there's no way.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It is going to be interesting to see how it goes, because there's been one big thing that has came out with that move that people did not that people I don't think realize. WrestleMania weekend is normally the weekend to where every indie wrestling company and WrestleCon goes on at the location of where WrestleMania is. They're not going to Saudi Arabia. They don't have the money to do it. So it's going to be interesting to see in this year and a half span, can any of them come together and make something that's that same weekend that will compete against WrestleMania? Heads up. Because for those people that don't want to get up and watch WrestleMania at 4 in the afternoon, not even 4 in the afternoon, 12 in the afternoon, and watch it for 7 hours for 2 nights, versus being able to physically be right there in the forefront of it, this is prime opportunity to sit there and snatch the demographic. Yeah, you want to go global, go global. You better make sure that global keeps your bottom line together instead of at home. And with that, that's all I got, because I'm tired. We didn't talk too much. I'm ready to go. We didn't doubled it.
Yeah.
Through the whole
Good
time
Lord.
frame. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm taking next week off. I'm out here. It's your boy, Mystah Jay. Everybody have a good week. Enjoy the football. We ain't even talk college football. God dang it.
I know, right?
I'm out of here. Everybody have a great evening.
Yep. Later.
Later.